Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mangalorian. A few minutes late, but still here. Late, but still great, man. We almost didn't have this show today because right before we started going live, Jordan had lost his power. And then as we're discussing what time to reschedule it, just our fucking luck, boom, the
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 power company.
power comes back, and here we are, bro.
Yeah, I think
So
I think the power company likes to play with my emotions, bro. I don't know.
they certainly have to play with mine, bro. So, besides that practical joke that the universe is playing on you, how and on me, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I do have a lot going on. I have a lot of responsibilities and stuff, but I'm very blessed as an individual, so I just try to focus on that. You know what I mean?
That's how I feel. That's man. I don't know if you've been there. I don't know if you've been there when I've cut promos on these YouTubers who are all fucking like extremely rich, but they're bitching and moaning about how hard YouTube is and their life. And it's like, even if you're not extremely rich, even if you're just okay, even if you're poor, even if you're, middle class, you have to be blessed because chances are somebody out there has it worse than you. Our little technological issue we had today or whatever is a first world problem because some
Yeah.
people don't get the opportunity to read the manga, much less talk about it over the web. And I've just always lately in the past few years I've always felt a lot more gratitude for those types of things.
Me too. And for those of you who are asking, I'm not going to dox myself, but I do live in the middle of the woods, so that
I
that's what
thought
it,
that was common knowledge, bro.
I thought it was by now too, but
Remember Jordan streamed outdoors. Yeah, my God remembers. I remember. I remember that episode. That was something. But
it was fun.
today we're covering Dragon Ball Super Manga Volume 7, which is the continuation of the Tournament of Power. Let me get everybody. There we go. Now we got our thing going here. Tall. No, that's going to cover your face. Wide. No, that's perfect. Just right there. So, yeah, we left off with the last volume was mostly Goku and the other universes like gathering together the warriors, and now with volume 7, now we actually have the beginning of the universe of power, of the Tournament of Power, the Universal Survival arc. We have Team Universe 7 here, and some of the gods of destruction here. We have, of course, the arena, which is meant to look like a giant
Yeah,
dreidel, like a giant.
what do you think of the world of Void, like post Dragon Ball Daima?
What do you mean post Daima?
Well, like, do you think that kind of retextualizes like what the world of Void could be?
I
Because
just I did I thought you asked me this. I could have sworn you asked me this last time. I thought that
no,
we
no, no,
talked
no, no,
about
no.
how
Well,
it exists between the universes.
the reason I bring it up now is because it might be a bit more symbolic that the tournament takes place in the world of Void if the world of Void is just a void without universes. Because when the universes get erased, basically they're being erased and being turned into void, so to speak. So I guess the reason I asked is because it kind of recontextualizes why they had the tournament there. Because if the void is an empty space where like no universes exist, it makes sense that the place that they're going to erase universes is what essentially what happens when you erase the universe.
Yeah, but I've always felt that way even before Daima. The
Yeah,
world of void is somewhere in the cosmos that's outside the multiverse.
right.
So it's sort of like even if you go to like Judeo-Christian, how in Genesis it says that the world was without form and void. Like it's almost like a somewhere in space, and not space the way we know it, like within the universe, but somewhere like maybe in a separate space that is outside the multiverse. I don't think Daima has really changed that. The only thing Daima's done is made me wonder if this is what Daima's done for me. To your question, when Primus and the other Kaioshin left the demon realm, is it safe to assume that when they left, they went to the world of Void because there was nothing there? Then they created the multiverse within the world of Void.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, because like it's almost like the universes exist inside the world of Void.
Yeah, yeah. And what's really interesting is the Kai and like the Majin in general, like have this urge to like create and rule territory. Whereas like the angels kind of just like they just like apply law to it, right? So they both have their kind of to me it's really really interesting that the Majin's like motivations to like create and conquer and have more land is the source of like the multiverse. I think that's really cool because it's kind of the Majin are like chaotic beings. They're not order based beings like that, like the angels. So it kind of reminds me of the Chinese creation myth. You were talking about the biblical creation myth, but the Chinese creation myth, the universe was created out of a yin and yang, like a big, a giant amount of yin and yang energy colliding together, and that's what created the universe. So that it kind of reminds me of that because it went from being nothing to being like introduced to this like super creative energetic force, and like the two colliding is like what created the entire multiverse. I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, I that works as well. I mean, the only thing we know from Toriyama is the Rhymus thing from Daima. Like we talked about that a few different times, and I've had to go back and I was going to do a video, and I'm probably still going to do it, about the origin of the multiverse. I did a preview on the patreon.com/geekdom101, by the way, folks, for more content, lots more content. I've loaded that thing up with all kinds of shit. But I've talked, and I had done a preview of it where I started the video, but I may have to go back and redo the whole video again just because there's so many mysteries that we don't know.
Yeah, and I think the TOP, because it's like one of the latest arcs, like prior to Daima, I think there's got to be some hints in it about what Toriyama was thinking. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't that far apart. Like and I know a lot of people like to claim that like the events of Daima don't connect to Super, but Toriyama,
people need to stop saying that.
Toriyama said that Daima was meant to reveal the secrets of the Dragon Ball universe, meaning it's the secrets of his universe. So there's got to be some sort of hints within this story as to like what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but people who say that they're not in the same continuity are a little weird. But at the same time, there is no real canon, so the canon is in Toriyama's mind. So and that's a complicated conversation to have in and of itself. Yeah, so everyone arrives, and we're introduced to a couple of the other universes.
One of the things, that Roshi line right there, that's
right here.
Yeah, first of all, it's really cool foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's also a throwback to OG Dragon Ball.
Yep, that's true. But what I wanted to say, well, not only is it really cool foreshadowing to UI, but also, have you ever read Toyotaro's like Roshi manga?
I don't remember.
The one where he dies, or Roshi dies? I
don't remember that ever. When did that come out? I have no memory of this. It came out
a long time ago. But anyway,
was this before he took over?
Yeah. The way he draws his beard is very unique. Have you ever noticed that? Like the way Toyotaro like draws Roshi and like his beard is very unique. He makes him look way more gruff, and like he doesn't draw him like Toriyama does at all. Like his beard is very huge, and I guess he's kind of trying to make him look even older than
yeah.
Even
well, he is older. That kind of makes sense.
Right. But that's something else I wanted to point out is like Toyotaro has a very specific way of drawing Roshi. Like it kind of reminds me of.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not looked at that yet. Yeah, I got to find that actually.
But it's cool. I really like this design for Roshi, and it reminds me a lot. You know how Toyotaro brings out those monthly drawings where he draws.
Toyotaro drew it. Yeah, he still does that.
The way that he draws Roshi reminds me a lot of his style in those pictures, because there's like a lot of detail in his beard, and like the line art is very, very. It just reminds me a lot. I mean, apparently Toyotaro loves to draw old guys, but I just really love his design for Roshi.
Yeah, he right, and Roshi does a lot more in the manga version of this arc than in the anime version. But we can talk about that when we get there. What do you think about the fact that both the anime and manga versions of this arc chose to focus? It didn't really. It took time focusing on a few different. Like, it focused on a lot of the heavy hitters, like Universe 6, Universe 11 got most of the focus outside of the main characters. But outside of that, there's a few characters here and there that were brought in, like Rib Rian and people like that. Yeah. I saw some people back then say that they felt like they wanted all of the universes to, like, sort of have their own little moment, which they all kind of did, but you can't expect like Universe like 2 and 3, manga? Which are, well, I mean, just in both, but like, I think people, you have to understand when you're writing a story, you have to put the focus on a small, like if it's 48 or so characters, I believe, something like that, and it's, it's 8 universes fighting. And you have to have, I hate to say it, but you have to have jobber universes. I do think that there's interesting aspects of these universes. I would love to explore them. But with this arc, they were kind of smart in just keeping the focus on 6, 11, and maybe a few other side characters and some of the other ones. What do you think about that? Because I feel like if they had focused on other universes as much as they did 6 and 11, they would have probably lost the plot, and it would have dragged on, and it would have made the arc longer and not necessarily better.
Well, I look at the Tournament of Power as like an audit. It's essentially Zeno and the Grand Priest testing the mortals.
Well, sure, but I'm talking about more so your opinion as a storytelling device.
Right. And, yeah, I'm
okay.
getting to that. So I think it's appropriate for some of the characters to just be jobbers due to the fact that they're supposed to be characters that deserve to be erased. And in the Tournament of Power, there's a lot of moments, if you'll notice, if you pay close attention, a lot of characters lean heavily into their ego prior to being erased. A lot of the characters are almost like their own undoing in that sense. So from a storytelling standpoint, I think it makes perfect sense that like a lot of the underdeveloped universes like have this sort of selfish attitude, and that selfish attitude is ultimately what leads to them being erased because that selfish attitude backfired on the battlefield. So I'm more worried about that aspect of the storytelling than I am everybody getting some special moment. I don't think the universes are supposed to be framed as something inherently good. That's something that a lot of people overlook about.
No, they're actually, the ones in this tournament are inherently bad. That was the whole reason they're even doing it. And here we have Hit saying, "Oh, it's your fault this tournament's happening," which is the people have taken this line as to say it was a bad thing, even though Goku was their only hope.
Yeah.
So I want to address this comment right here from Reawakened. Also, in my opinion, Battle Royale arcs are kind of doomed to not be focused enough, which is why I don't really usually like them. Okay. I understand where he's coming from, and he's not right, but I want to talk about this briefly because I'm, of course, a wrestling guy. A battle royal is a wrestling idea. Before anybody Toriyama has denied watching wrestling. I think he's being tongue-in-cheek. There's no way he hasn't watched pro wrestling because there's way too much pro wrestling in his storylines. Mr. Satan is a pro wrestling character. Okay, you can't argue that. He's even got a world championship belt. Like, he's a pro wrestling character. Yeah. And so a battle royal is a pro wrestling idea. Here's the reality of every battle royal. Not everyone in that battle royal is going to be a star or be made out to look like a star. They always focus on a small number of guys, not just the winners and not just the runners up. You've got guys in battle royals who get elimination records. Oh, this guy threw out 20 guys. This guy threw out 5 guys. You have that. You have guys that have the Iron Man, which means that they're in there the longest before getting thrown out. There's different. The beautiful thing about a battle royal is there are multiple ways of getting a character over and getting them a push, not just winning the battle royal. Like I said, being one of the finalists, doing something really, really cool, getting a lot of eliminations. So it's one of those situations where this is the first battle royal we've had in Dragon Ball. Hopefully not the last, but it is the first. But when you're booking a battle royal, when you're writing a battle royal, you're just not going to have enough time to focus on every character. I don't think that takes points away. I do have issues with this arc, but I don't think that in particular takes points away from the arc. I think they had no choice. Because the audience is only going to remember. That's the thing. People are only going to remember parts of something, not the entire thing. And even somebody like me who's watched Dragon Ball a million times and can rattle off episode titles and all this shit, like, and I know the series so well. For a battle royal, I'm not going to give you a deep character biography on the birds from Universe 2. Like, I don't know anything about these characters, bro. I don't know if we ever will.
Right. And I'd
like to.
Like I said, there is storytelling. Like the setup to why the tournament is happening, they do use the idea of the universes being deserved.
And there's storytelling in the tournament.
Yeah, well, even just they do this genius thing where they set it up to where even the character interactions themselves feed into the overall narrative of the tournament. And what I mean by that is, if a character is egotistical in battle, that's the exact opposite of what Zeno is looking for. So the whole entire story, it reinforces the narrative that it's trying to push through the battles itself. Okay, like I'll never forget it. Like, you ever heard that saying about how like water can erode mountains?
I mean, it can.
Yeah,
it's
an
true.
Old Chinese proverb.
But it's also scientifically accurate, yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget when I was watching the anime and I saw like Goku and Jiren fighting, I could not help but think of that saying like throughout the entire tournament. Like, there is storytelling in the Tournament of Power in both the anime. It's just very, very subtle, and it's you have to really take all the context in mind when dissecting what's happening. You have to think about why the Tournament of Power is happening, all of the rules that have been set up in terms of what moral development is. Like, basically, you have to think about what the plot and the narrative itself is trying to reinforce. And if you focus on that, you'll see that there is like subtle storytelling that happens with it.
There's storytelling in the Royal Rumble every year too. You can definitely tell stories. In fact, with a battle royal, you can tell different kinds of stories that you can't tell in a regular tournament. That's why I was okay with them doing it like this. And so I want to real quick address, he replied back he didn't know, he wasn't well versed in wrestling, and that's fine. Look, I'm not expecting you to know all of the roots of Toriyama's ideas. That's why we're here. That's literally why this series even exists, bro, is to go into that, right? But I want, one of the things that I will say, okay, look, no, they couldn't focus on giving us detailed biographies of every character, right? We all agree. However, one of the things that I was saying back then, that I'm still saying to this day, Jordan, is that what this tournament did is it introduced a plethora of new characters, new concepts, and new universes that can be used for future storylines if they want to tell them outside of Son Goku. We all know Nozawa's getting older. We all know that her time, no one's immortal. We lost Ted Turner today at 87. Like, nobody is, and that guy hung in there. Nobody is immortal. She's going to pass away at some point, right? And a lot of people think, when that happens, that could be the end of Goku as a character in an anime. Now, I'm not sure about that. They may have a replacement. We don't know yet. Only the Japanese know. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you want to tell Dragon Ball stories without Goku, you've introduced a number of new universes that you can still tell stories in the multiverse of Toriyama that don't necessarily have Goku in them. You could even have the stories be based on what Goku does in this tournament. That way he's still revered by the multiverse, because he is revered by the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got the Pride Trooper series, the Hit series, the Female Saiyans, the birds, the robots, the Universe 9 people. They could do spin-offs with all of this, and then you learn more about them. That's the way I would do it. You don't want to waste time going into everyone's backstory here. You want to do the backstory later. It's like the MCU. When they first introduce a new character, like when they first introduced like Hawkeye, you don't know his backstory until later, you know, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you do it.
Imagine how cool it would be if like we went into like a tournament, or we went into like one of the universes, and you know, you got to see a reflection of one of the character's mistakes, and when they go to make up for those mistakes, they think about Goku. Because like Goku has like
that's one example.
That's one Goku has like affected everybody in the entire tournament, so they can basically kind of make Goku like the angel on everybody's shoulder when they go back to their universes. And I think that is the intention of the tournament, is like Goku having his classic effect on the entire multiverse. That is definitely the intention of the tournament. So in that sense, it does set up the perfect opportunity for them to tell Goku-esque stories through an entire multiverse of characters.
Goku, you gotta think about it this way, folks, and this is something that if you have not, I'm gonna get big screen now. If you have not gone back and watched the other Mangalorians, I know some people have joined us for Super because they mostly just care about Super, which to me is, listen, I get it, but the original Dragon Ball is that's Toriyama 100%. This is not 100% Toriyama, but that's okay. We're still covering it. That is the purest of Dragon Ball, is original Dragon Ball. You know, the original 42. But look, like this is something you and I have gone over time and time again. That's the Goku effect, where as the series progresses, first Goku makes friends with his friend circle. Then he meets new friends on Earth. Then he saves the Earth. Then in Z, he goes out and makes friends in space with the Namekians. Now, well, Geekdom, what is making friends with the Namekians? How does that affect anything? That affects everything, because if Goku had not made friends with the Namekians, who's going to be the god of Earth when Piccolo and Kami fused? How would they have known who Dende was? Like, you gotta think about this, bro. Like, people, you know me, bro, and we've talked about it. I'm not going to go into a rant about how people don't think, but you have to think about the series wholly. Like from what's the word, that holistic? That's the word. From a holistic perspective. If they had not made friends with the Namekians, that last wish that was made to Goku to beat Majin Buu, bro, Majin Buu would have destroyed everybody. Straight up, he would have killed everybody. It would have been over. So, and then Goku goes and makes friends in space. Then he makes friends with the gods. Then he makes friends with the higher gods. Then he makes friends with, and that goes back to our disagreement we had about Zeno, is that's the next step. And then here he's maybe not friends, but he's having an impact on the multiverse, right? That is what Goku does. And I do feel, Jordan, that the Demon Realm's another example, but I do feel like maybe this multiverse would have been a good final arc for Super. It obviously wasn't, but like, you know, it could have been, you know, but I think in the future, and I stand by this, it would be a huge mistake if they don't have a storyline where eventually something happens and the entire multiverse has to help Goku, whether it be the multiversal spirit bomb idea I had that was almost a joke, but I thought about it and it would be ridiculous, against a super duper evil villain, or something happens where the multiverse has to work together against a big threat. Like, I feel like that's going to be like the seeds have been sown in this tournament for something like that happening. What do you think about that? Because that would just make sense with how Dragon Ball has always been.
Yeah. I think Frieza's a good opportunity for something like that, because I think Frieza's ambitions are definitely bigger than his own universe at this point. But I also think what they intend to do with Frieza is so complicated that I can't really. It's hard for me to put. I know partially,
but it's also it might change, Jordan, now that he's gone. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I don't think it will change, because Toyotaro came up with Black Frieza. But
no, I meant what they plan to do with him. They might be going in a different direction.
I doubt it. But anyway, in terms of you know, the whole multiverse thing, it's an awesome opportunity. I mean, Heroes knew that. They used characters different universes to help Goku in the time tournament from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. So yeah, it's an amazing idea, and it would be really cool if something like that happened, for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
eventually. I mean, it's just a thing where that's the pattern. That's the pattern Dragon Ball's given us, you know?
right. Now,
And we actually see Hit talking about this here. I'm sorry, go ahead. You were going to say. Yeah. I just wanted to highlight what Hit says that he's been training. That's the Goku effect.
In terms of, and this kind of applies to that. So in terms of storytelling, okay, I think one of the biggest problems the Dragon Ball fandom has is treating each arc like a separate story. I've said this a bunch of times. I say it a lot online because I notice it a lot online. But I think one of the biggest problems in terms of storytelling is everybody treats every arc like it's separate. They don't take the context from the previous parts of the story and apply it to what's happening then. They just treat it like
you're talking about holistically. That's the word that I used earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand because each arc is its own little story, but the point is it's an arc. It's not the story.
Yeah, and if you think about who Goku is and who his ancestors were, it paints a fascinating picture, okay? Now, a lot of people think that, like, the Grand Priest is, like, fascinated with Goku because of his behavior. And I could see that. But the Grand Priest has been around this entire time, okay? He sees everything, okay? And prior to Daima, now, I remember thinking this when the Tournament of Power happened, and Daima just completely changed it up even more. But the Saiyans were these barbaric, hopeless beings that the Kai had created.
No, okay. I mean they're not from the demon realm. That nothing you said is incorrect. That's factually correct. Even before even before Minus, it was the same way. And after,
right. Well, what I think Daima kind of offered, you're right that the Saiyans aren't from the demon realm because they clarified that. But at the end of Dragon Ball,
they should have been though.
At the end of, here's why I think they're not. At the end of Dragon Ball Daima, do you remember when? Do you remember that blue character with the ears who has the big hat? What's his name? I can't remember it like right off the bat.
There's Hybis, but there's also
Hybis. Whenever Goku's in Super Saiyan 4, Hybis says that Goku is more like blue. He says that Goku is more like a Majin. And I think the reason
you ever think that maybe that's because magic unlocked the form? Oh, that's right, Jordan. It didn't. He knew the form the entire time. Oh, that's right. The internet obviously knows more than we do.
I also think that they purposely made the great apes Majin-like, not Majin, but Majin-like.
The pointy ears.
Yeah. And if you look at the progression that Goku goes from, he starts off with the great ape being his transformation. And then by the time he goes to the Tournament of Power, Ultra Instinct is his transformation. So there's almost like an evolution that's happening through the transformations themselves. If you
even in the old manga it was like that too with the Super Saiyan
right. But if you look, like for example, in the last chapter when we were watching Goku go through all his forms, to us it just looks like he's just showing him all his forms. But if you understand what spiritual development is, and the idea of like developing ki through spiritual means and what that implies for the gods, every time Goku powers up into a more powerful ki-based transformation, that is evidence that he has ascended spiritually. So when the Grand Priest sees him go through all those transformations, he's seeing him ascend spiritually every time he transforms.
Yes,
So there's more context.
And UI is like the ultimate.
Exactly. So I think, if you think about, because we also found out that the Kai were demons, right? And the Kai were the ones who were responsible for the creation of the Saiyans. So if you think about it that way, it's almost like the Saiyans are like a prototype that were developed during a time the Kai were trying to create life, that the Kai accidentally gave them Majin-like traits. They may not be Majin, but they have Majin-like traits. And this was like way earlier in the development of life than Earth. And Earth is almost like a refined version of that developmental process in the same sense. They're almost like refined, controlled, less Majin-like Saiyans in some sense. That's basically kind of what the humans are. And the humans, they don't have the pointy ears at all. The
No
angels don't have.
tails.
Yeah, the human, they have the round ears like the angels. So I think the Earth is basically the result of more time being invested in the Kais learning how to develop life, and the Earthlings are the result of the Kais just getting better at developing life, and the Saiyans are just the result of them not being as good at it back then. And so,
Yeah,
they're
so you're in agreement then that the Earth is younger in the universe compared to some of these other
yeah. Oh,
civilizations.
definitely.
I think so too. I've always felt like the Earth is like, people say that about us now. That if there's aliens coming to visit us in the real world, they're way ahead of us. We're the freaking babies of the universe. Scientists,
exactly.
or not science, well, some scientists believe that. Yeah. I want to say one quick thing here before we get out, or get back to the manga, not before we get out, is the thing to your point about people not looking at things holistically. This will be the last thing. The one thing that I see all the time, and I've developed a sixth sense for spotting someone, what kind of a fan they are of Dragon Ball, like that. Like instantly, I know what kind of a fan you are just based on how you speak. And these people who obsess over Saiyans or the Saiyans coming back and the Saiyans being super strong, bro. Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are exceptional beings.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The other Saiyans, it's not to say that all the Saiyans were absolute complete wusses like Farmer with a shotgun, because they weren't. They were a warrior race. But in comparison to the power and the fighting knowledge of Goku, Vegeta, and Broly, it's like an ant compared to a giant. There's no. Most Saiyans are dumb and weak compared to Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. And I'm not even talking about their kids. I mean, if you want to, like, Tarbell's a good example. Like, he's weak. He's not strong. Nappa was strong for his time, but not straight up strong. And so the point is that I think a lot of people have this fantasy of there being a gazillion super strong Saiyans to fight, but they're not strong.
No, they're not.
Goku, think about this. Goku in the Saiyan saga would probably mollywop the majority of the entire planet Vegeta with Kaioken 3. If Kaioken 3 took out the Prince, and then it didn't take him out, but it beat him in the beam struggle ×4, you damn right, bro, that, it would have been it. But I think people like fantasize that there's a bunch of Goku, Vegeta, and Broly's running around. Bro, Broly's a mutant. He's the only one of his kind. We know that.
And even Goku and Vegeta are only as powerful as they are because they have put in the effort to raise their energy. They have developed themselves.
Train.
Right? Like when Goku was the first to start doing that, and then Vegeta was introduced to that by Goku. Vegeta himself actually wasn't that special in terms of his place in the universe other than being the prince. His power wasn't that amazing in comparison to the grand scope of things. So if it wasn't for Goku, Vegeta would have just been a footnote. So he's just the king of the barbarians. Like,
right.
He actually wasn't supposed to be that big.
He's
of a
the
deal.
Nicest guy in prison, as they say. Not literally, but you know.
Right. So he wasn't supposed to be that big a deal either. Broly, really, honestly, is the only one who would have been born a big deal.
He's a mutant. He's a mutant. Yeah, he's the only one.
Yeah.
And Jordan, I once got into it on Facebook years ago because there was a guy who he wrote what race would win, Saiyans or Namekians. Everybody wrote Saiyans because they're all stupid, and I wrote Namekians. You're crazy, bro. You're crazy. I'm like, okay, are we talking about Goku, Vegeta, Broly, or are we talking about the entirety of the race? Because, buddy, I got news for you. Nail from Namek would have one-shotted almost the entirety of Planet Vegeta. Yeah. Like, Namekians are more powerful than Saiyans, bro. And that could be because of karma, going back to what we've talked about a gazillion times on this show, or because they're good-natured. But again, I think people look at Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and then the kids as like, this is what Saiyans are, when in actuality, they're the very, very, very minority. Like 0.00001%.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, and then you've got Universe 6, which is different. See, they could actually hold their own in a fight because most of them are developed. Now, I did want to...
It's funny you bring up karma because part of the reason the Saiyans are so weak is because of their own personal karma. Yamoshi lost to the evil Saiyans, and because he lost to the evil Saiyans ruled, and they kept the Saiyans from being able to become something akin to Universe 6. So it's the Saiyans' own fault that they're not that strong as well. You know, they kind of like stop themselves from being able to develop in the same way that Universe 6 did. So
Yeah, and that's just the way it is. So now obviously the Saiyans are stronger than like races that don't fight, but yeah, and this is correct right here. Nail would have destroyed Saiyan Saga Vegeta, bro. Like that's a fact. So okay, look, I'm not gonna criticize the manga, but because this is not a criticism here. This is just me as a fanboy. I love this interaction with Frieza and Frost. I wanted more of it just as a selfish fanboy because the way I see this interaction, this conversation, right, is it's literally a dick measuring contest between two guys that are both mafia bosses, two guys that run their own little mafia. They've both been successful, but the difference, and this is key to what we just talked about 15 minutes ago, is that Frieza has experienced the Goku effect and Frost has not. Frieza learned both from his fight on Namek and the Resurrection F fight that he needs to train. So that's why Frieza makes a pussy out of Frost. Now, I'm so glad Clip said this, bro. Because I was going to say this. No, I was going to say this. I would have loved it if this was like a Sopranos type of situation with these two. Because I always like those mafia stories where you have one guy trying to outsmart the other. And that's kind of what we have here. But Frieza's also stronger than him physically. The point is that I really like a lot of... I really like this a lot.
I have a lot of insight into this. So...
Wait. Before you get into your insight... Okay. Okay. This is another mistake that you're making, bro. Obviously, Frieza race would squash most of the Saiyans. Buddy, I've said this I don't know how many times. Akira Toriyama said that Frieza and his father are mutants. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as the Saiyans. Frieza's race is weak compared to Frieza and his dad. So you're making the same mistake that they're making about the Saiyans.
Nope. Do not jump to conclusions when it comes to these characters. Never jump to conclusions.
Or at least look into what Toriyama said. Okay, Jordan, go ahead, bro. Let us,
So, what I think is really cool about you brought up the point about Frieza going through the Goku effect. Who beat Frost?
Vegeta? Yeah, Vegeta.
So Vegeta went through Frost went through what I like to call the Vegeta effect, meaning he just leaned into his ego even more. After he was defeated by Vegeta, instead of being affected by Goku, he just leaned into it even more. So I find that really cool. But also,
but we do know this because it's a Toriyama interview. You can't say we don't know anything about Frieza's race when we know this. Come on, bro. Come on now.
I'll tell you how I interpret the whole interaction between Frost and Frieza.
It's okay, bro.
I interpret it as Frieza further purging himself of the character traits that Frost represents. That's how I look at this. Because he sees the weakness in Frost's behavior. And Frost's behavior is a reflection of his old behavior. It's a reflection of the mistakes that he made against Goku on Namek. Right? That's part of the reason that he knows Frost so well is because Frost is just, like you said, he's a Frieza who never learned his lesson in that sense.
Yeah, and if it had been Goku to tell him, well, maybe you should train a little bit and get stronger. No, which is Vegeta beat him and that was it. It was over,
I think very similar to like the 6-year macaque thing that I've talked about a bunch of times. I think Frost is that for Frieza. I think Frost is something that Frieza experiences to further purge himself of the character traits that Frost represents. And I actually think that it feeds directly into Frieza's character development. Now, speaking of Frieza's character development, this is something I forgot to mention in the last volume, and I just want to talk about it real quick. But you know how Frieza's in the cocoon in Hell?
Yeah.
So definitely. in Journey to the West, okay, Sun Wukong was sealed underneath a mountain, and all that was visible was his head.
Yeah,
right?
that's a classic. We've talked about that a few times.
It was literally, basically what I'm saying is Frost's hell, and it's supposed to be symbolic of hell and purging yourself of your sins in Journey to the West. When Sun Wukong's like under the mountain, he's supposed to be in hell, essentially. He's not, but it's his version of hell, and he's supposed to be trapped there until he repents for his sins. And that's literally exactly what they did with Frieza. And then right afterwards, they're having Frieza face a version of himself that represents his past mistakes. Now, the series of events points to the series giving Frieza a Sun Wukong character arc. And that's what I'm seeing here. Because he went from being trapped exactly like Sun Wukong was. Because you have to remember, in Journey to the West, he's trapped in his own personal hell. He has to repent for his sins. After he repents for his sins, he eventually fights an evil version of himself that represents his past traits. And that's literally exactly verbatim what's happening.
And the only difference is that Frieza's still staying evil even after the fact. He has changed though.
In that sense, yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I actually love that, and it just shows that Journey to the West is still in effect even in the era of Super. Now, this will be the last thing about this topic from Real Disciple. I think all of you are speculating. Well, I'm quoting the creator of the series. There's no way of knowing if Frieza race would be weaker or stronger than the Saiyans because Frieza was a mutant. No, you're misunderstanding my point. The point is not to say that Frieza's race is stronger than the Saiyans or vice versa. The point is that I was catching Nicholas making the same mistake that those fans make when they say, well, the Saiyans are really strong. Saying the Saiyans are really strong and saying Frieza's race is really strong both is an error, because what you're doing is you're taking the characters that we know and love, Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, King Cold, Cooler, whatever, and you're having them represent the entire race. That's my point. It's not about which of the two is stronger. It's about the fact that Nick, and I'm not picking on him. A lot of people make this mistake. He's over here saying, well, Frieza's race, and it's like, well, actually, Frieza's also a mutant. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that they're very similar in that aspect. So the 12th Crash Master, Goku and Vegeta are beyond all other Saiyans because they have evolved not just in power but in mind and spirit. That's the difference between them and the Saiyans of old. They learned and changed. Correct, but here's the real big sort of joke with this whole thing, right? Vegeta would not have done that if it wasn't for Goku. Yep. It's really Goku. And Goku wouldn't have done that had it not been for Grandpa Gohan and the people he met on Earth. Yep. And if you really want to go back, had it not been for Bardock sending him away, whether it be Minus or even what happened in the original, the pre-Minus story in the special. Earth is what changed Goku. And there's something to be said about that. Maybe someday we'll do a whole really deep video about Earth's impact on the multiverse. Because the planet Earth and what it did to Goku, if it wasn't for that, there would be no Dragon Ball. Because everything Goku does is based on that.
That's true.
So we have Goku meeting Jiren for the first time. Here's another shot of his rear end. I seem to like a lot of that. He's jacked, bro. Jordan, what do you think? Look, a lot of people say that Jiren is basically the complaint was he's a one-dimensional character that is essentially just a wall for Goku to overcome. And there may be some truth in that. I don't think he's one-dimensional, but I think you and I may have even done a video on this, and I forgot that we did it. I've always seen Jiren as this is the way I see Jiren. I see him as the polar opposite of Goku for two reasons. And I did a video about this, Goku versus Jiren, difference in philosophy. Jiren believes in himself. Goku does too, but with the help of his friends. He fights for his friends. That's established in the anime more than the manga. Jiren is a quote-unquote superhero, but he's a flawed character. Goku does not say he's a superhero, but he is a superhero. It's sort of like when people compare LeBron to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, when he's asked if he's the greatest of all time, he always says, I don't want to say that about myself. I never played Wilt Chamberlain, I never played Jerry West. And he always says that every time. Meanwhile, LeBron goes around saying he's the greatest of all time. Now, that's bad. We've got an ego situation going on here. And it seems like that's kind of the way I see Goku and Jiren. Goku is a hero, but he doesn't try to be a hero. He's a heroic motherfucker, but Jiren's job is to be a hero, and yet he's flawed. I think that's Toriyama and Toyotaro kind of playing with the East versus West version of what a hero is. Because Jiren's like an Avenger, basically.
I think it's amazing that you picked up on that without the Taoist context.
Yeah, now, but I already know a little bit about Taoism. I just didn't go into the books like you did.
I know you do. But
yeah, I don't go deeper into it like you do.
So
that's why you're here.
Here's how I see it, okay? Now, a lot of people are in denial about the fact that Dragon Ball is a Taoist show. Ki is a Taoist concept. The Void is a Taoist.
A lot of anime is, bro.
The Void is a Taoist concept. Okay, Goku is based on a Taoist god. Okay, like the way that the gods are made is verbatim how the Taoist gods are made in their mythology. It's a Taoist show. I mean, it's undeniable that it has Taoist roots. It's just undeniable. Okay, the show is named after Enter the Dragon by Bruce Lee, who is a martial artist who practiced Taoist philosophy.
One of Toriyama's favorite actors in movies, right there.
It is a Taoist-based series. Now, in the Tao Te Ching, which is the book for Taoism, there's this line, and it says that as soon as you proclaim your deeds good, they become evil. Now, what they mean by that is when you claim your deeds good, your intentions are no longer pure. Okay?
Right.
Basically,
it's like the people who donate money and say, hey, everyone, I donated money.
Yes.
Instead of doing it because, it's the right thing to do.
That is, and
Jordan, remember when all those people said that I was disrespectful to Toriyama? Meanwhile, I donated fucking hundreds to the Brain Institute of Association of America. Didn't say a word about it for a whole year, and then finally I had to say something about it. A whole year I kept my mouth shut about that.
Yeah. I think Jiren's arrogance comes from the fact that he doesn't have this sense of emptiness that Goku has. He doesn't have this like Taoist.
You have to explain the emptiness because that sounds bad. Like, oh, you're empty. You know, it's not a bad kind of emptiness.
No, it's not.
It's the Asian version of emptiness.
It's lack of ego.
Yeah,
it's
that's
lack
it.
Of ego. And that has different implications. There is a sense of non-attachment that comes with that, but it's not a toxic form of sense of non-attachment like Jiren has. Jiren has a toxic form of non-attachment. Okay, Goku. His form of non-attachment is that his purity comes in the form that he is solely dedicated to getting stronger. Okay? He's not, like, his actual intentions are not to be a protector. His intentions are to attain a state of wu wei, of no-mindedness, where he is solely developed his consciousness to getting better as a martial artist. And they play on this in the Tournament of Power whenever Goku gets Ultra Instinct in the anime, when they talk about how all Goku's thoughts give way to the fires of battle. That's essentially what Goku is trying to accomplish. Okay, this is all based on like Taoist martial arts philosophy. Now Jiren, he doesn't have that going on. Jiren is very, very, very egotistical. He is a carved block, so to speak. He is very, very prideful in his identity and his ego and who he is. Goku is not. That's the reason that Goku does not consider himself a hero of justice. That's the reason. And when he does care about people, he doesn't care about people as an extension of his own ego. He just cares about people in general. He's just empathetic in general. Jiren only protects people to basically prove that his philosophy is correct. And that's something that his master saw in him. He saw that the only reason that Jiren behaved the way he did is because he had this very, very strong feeling that his master was wrong about teamwork. So he put extra effort into being this like amazing protector who could prove his master wrong. So the director for the episodes when Dragon Ball Super was running,
Nagamine, rest in peace.
Yeah, he said that if you pay attention, that this fight is more like Bushido, and what he means by that is each fighter has an ideology, and they are learning from each other's ideology and sort of checking it out and seeing what they think of it, and then the superior ideology wins, and as a result, the other person's ideology develops and changes as a result of that. That's Bushido. That's what that is. So
Yes.
there's much more layers to the intentions here with Jiren. He is not a one-dimensional character in like the classic old cartoon sense.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where that's a thing that I see, quote unquote, and I hate this is gonna sound egotistical, but it's not, quote unquote, Dragon Ball experts, right? And people who actually, there's people in this community who are, quote unquote, respected for their knowledge that I think don't know as much as they think they do. And I'm not saying this as from my ego. That's not where this is coming from. It's from me listening to the shit they say, and I'm like, this is false. Example, Vegeta regressed in Super. Anytime you hear somebody say that Vegeta regressed in Dragon Ball Super, don't trust their opinion on Dragon Ball. I know that, again, if you think that that's fucking... I don't think that's ego. That's me knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. Vegeta did not regress in Super. Jiren being one-dimensional, I'm not saying he's as interesting as Frieza and as Cell. I don't think he is. But there is more to that character and why he exists. Yeah. This right here, I don't disagree with you. I think it's a bit of an oversimplification, but I don't disagree with you entirely. That probably has a lot to do with it.
Simplified version of it. It is.
Yeah. And then this, I don't think Jiren's similar to Vegeta. I think that, they're both somewhat egocentric, but it's more so Vegeta killed innocent people for most of his life. Jiren did not. Jiren is not a bad, go ahead.
He's noble.
Yeah, Jiren's not a bad person. He is not an evil man. He's just a person who has different values from Goku, and they're egocentric. So we got to move on because, bro, we are 40 minutes. We're 50 minutes in, and we're still on chapter 1. This is going to be a long one. All right. So this is the rules of the tournament. Don't have to go too deeply into it. They're gonna throw people out. No weapons are allowed. No flying. Only your inherent techniques. I love this panel right here of all the universes because it's a very easy way for us to stop and look at all the different designs. And I believe Toriyama and Toyotaro made these designs for the anime first, then they incorporated them into the manga, because I'm pretty sure Toyotaro designed like half of these, or maybe less than half.
Yeah. And I do like that if you pay attention that all the universes kind of have a theme going on.
They all do. They all have a theme. Yeah, and I like that. And again, like I said, they could all get their own manga and their own anime. And then this panel right here is pretty famous because it just looks cool. Yeah, it just looks awesome, bro. It looks great. All right, so the tournament begins with Universe 7 like interspersing out. Now, already I started to dislike this. Not entirely, but okay. Goku and Vegeta and like, just wanting to go in there and fight, that's in their nature, right? However, I would have liked this more if they had come up with a strategy, and they didn't. And that's something that I would have liked to have seen more from this arc. Like, if I remember how I said I have criticisms, I would have liked it if we saw a little bit more strategy. Maybe not from Universe 7, maybe from Universe 6 or Universe, I don't know, 9.
They are forced to come up with strategies. That's what's
funny. Yeah, but they should have had a plan before they even got in there.
I agree. That was the entire point of them making Gohan the leader. But honestly, I think it's kind of funny. Like, I agree.
Yeah, I know. Gohan's like, let's stick together. It reminds me of Star Wars. We'll take them together. I'm taking them now. No, Anakin. Psh, you know what I mean?
To me, it's funny because when they're not in battle, it's easy for Goku and Vegeta to be like, oh, we need to be prepared. We need to do all these things. Yada, yada. But you're literally, when you're a Saiyan and you've got like 100 people in front of you that you could fight, it'd be a lot harder for you to just be like, okay,
It's a
guys,
kid in the candy store.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, there's like some comedy there. You know what I mean?
17 and 18, you know, they should have been more like, hold on, let's think this through.
I just think they're overconfident. I think 17 and 18 are just overconfident in general.
You know, they do. The thing about 17 and 18, if you go back to the original manga, they are very confident. I mean, even in battles against like Piccolo, like after the Kami merger, 18 super confident in that tournament. You know, like she is. They both are pretty like alpha male and female, bro. Maybe I'll do a whole video about that. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have an idea I want to pitch to you here live for down the road, like maybe later this year, because we're talking about like we talk about this a lot. So why don't we do this? Is for again, not for any time soon. We should do a super magic show where you pick 5 kung fu films and I pick 5 kung fu films, and we say like the 10 movies that Dragon Ball fans must watch to understand Dragon Ball more. And you could throw in the Jet Li, Jackie Chan Journey to the West one if you want. I'll obviously bring up Drunken Master because that has to get brought up. Like basically movies that Dragon Ball fans need to watch so to really understand the series deeper. And some that Toriyama was fans of. Huh?
That would be a great idea. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we need to do that. I'm doing a similar one with SS Jutsu about like other anime that Dragon Ball fans would like. I'm picking all shit from the 80s. He's more of a modern guy. Yeah. Would you like Jiren to return in future stories? I don't see why not. I've said that I want to see them rematch.
Yeah, I would love that.
I would love that. I want all these characters to come back. Like genuinely, I want them all to come back.
Yep.
You know? I think we'll make it a stream, Mecha J. Why? Tell him that it's human nature. That's what he was doing, bro. I was bumping that on the way back from seeing the movie. Okay, so the eliminations are a little bit different in this version. 17 gets off to a nice start, tossing this guy looks like Booker T, bro. Holy shit, he looks like Booker T.
To me, he looks like Balrog.
Okay, him too, bro. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. He's out. 17 is just cleaning house early on against, again, these are the, let's just be honest, these are the jobber universes, bro. They're going to be the ones that aren't going to do so well. You know, 17 might not be able to fly, but he sure as hell can jump high. He just crushes this bird dude. By the way, I know I'm supposed to be the Dragon Ball expert. No, I don't know all their names by heart. I don't care. Or I'm sorry, but I don't care what the bird from universe.
And Toyotaro doesn't know all their names.
But there's some guy out there probably with autism that does, and I'm okay with that. I have autism too, but not to that degree. I love this right here where Frieza's over here like stepping on. This is a very Frieza thing to do, okay? It's not evil, like it is evil, even though he's on Universe 7, we're supposed to root for him. It's an evil, in any other context, this right here, Frieza stepping on that guy's hand and kicking him off the ledge, that's super villain shit from like Die Hard. But here, it's cool because Frieza's on our side for once. That's the idea, you know?
Yeah, they take advantage of Frieza's antics to get you hyped. You know, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he got one." You know,
that's Frieza being Frieza.
Yeah, it makes you root for Frieza, which is that's
well, I always root for him, bro.
Yeah, I know.
So that's my guy. So I don't even remember this guy from the anime version. Another guy that ate.
I love Frieza's trot there at the end of the. He just.
Oh yeah. Flies have a way of finding their way under my feet. Cold, bro. What a cold motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then here we have Clayface, who is getting a movie this year. That came out of nowhere, even though that was rumored for a while. 18 kicks his bitch ass out, and that's another guy eliminated.
What he reminds me of? Do you remember the prototype designs for Majin Buu?
Well, I remember Booyan from OG Dragon Ball, but yes, I do remember some of those designs.
There's one where he kind of looks like the Michelin Man, like
yeah,
it reminds me of that. It reminds me of like one of those prototype Buu designs. But yeah, it is like Clayface too.
What makes me laugh about like the Majin Buu design is that he's obviously supposed to be an overweight sumo wrestler, and Toriyama said that he based him off of his final editor. But if you actually look at pictures of that guy's not really that fat. Like he's got a round face and he might be a little chubby, talking about Toriyama's editor, but he's not like Majin Buu fat, you know. It just but in Japan, if you're just a little chubby, you're basically considered fat in their civilization.
So you're saying all Japan has body dysmorphia is what you're saying?
Well, see, here's the thing. No, because how respected are sumo wrestlers? The biggest, fattest guys there. Listen,
Right.
I used to tell myself back when I was a heavier guy, I used to say, man, if I go to Japan, I'm going to get so much pussy. Those fucking sumo guys have tons of... Those little Japanese girls, bro, those little 5 foot tall, like, petite Japanese girls, love them some fat guys. So... But you got to be a fat, strong guy. You can't be a fat, weak guy. You got to be at least a little strong. I love this dude, bro. Fucking the Kamen Rider Sentai looking. What the hell was his name again?
I can't.
Oh, Kato Pelsa.
I only remember him because I remember him. I remember that was the one time in the anime that Vegeta like tried to use Ultra Instinct.
That's right. He's like trying to do it. It's not working.
Like, screw this, and he like beats the crap out of him. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Kato Pelsa. I always have trouble saying his name. Yeah, and here's Vegeta fighting him now. You know, and
Pepsi Man. It is Pepsi Man. Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, you know what? It is Pepsi Man. I didn't even think of that. But it kind of is Pepsi
Man, bro.
He's even got the P on his chest.
Oh my God.
Did Akira Toriyama play Pepsi Man, bro?
I've got to give you credit for that, man. I have never noticed that until now.
No, he really is Pepsi Man, dude. Holy shit. Here's a picture for reference. There's Pepsi Man, bro.
I've got to give you credit for that part.
No, but like, and that's the thing. There is a chance, because we know Toriyama played video games. There is a chance that Toriyama actually played the Pepsi Man game.
Yep. There is a chance.
That's
or
like
really
a weird
an inside joke to Japan. It could be either one, you know.
Right. And like I said, but that's the thing. Toriyama played Dragon Quest, a game that he was a co-creator and a designer for, an artist for, and he played it not knowing the entire story. Like, oh,
right,
what's gonna happen next? You know, so and we have pictures of that. Like and he's talked about it. When he was drawing Dragon Ball, he's like, yeah, I just got my early copy of Dragon Quest 2 and I'm playing it, but I have a toothache. Toriyama has comments every like chapter about what was going on in his life back then. So here we have the Pride Troopers, the Jobber Pride Troopers. Their pun is all named after kitchen appliances. Goku, it's just Super Saiyan 1. You know, some of these guys just straight up jabronis. I like all these action panels. There's not really much to break down. This is one of those times where...
That's the reason when we had those conversations earlier, I was thinking, it probably won't be that bad because there's a lot of fighting in this manga.
Right, and that's the thing is, I do like that you can take your time and just admire the art. I do think Toyotaro's paneling, while not on the level of Toriyama's, did improve for this arc. But I think this arc is made for dynamic paneling because you can do all kinds of different panels in these types of arcs where you've got just action nonstop. But notice that the Pride Troopers are getting eliminated a lot earlier, in the manga than in the anime. The anime, we didn't see any eliminations for a while, and Jiren was meditating for the entire fucking thing. Here, thank God, Jiren is actually doing shit. That's the thing. That was one of my criticisms of the anime, is that if Jiren really is that strong, he should have been going out there tossing motherfuckers out left and right. And in this version, he actually is. So I got to give Toyotaro credit for thinking about that and saying, why would this guy be sitting there, meditating the entire time? A little bit, okay, but the entire time, Jordan?
Well, they said it was because he was trying to conserve energy, if you remember. But
he's the strongest guy, right? So just go in there and do something.
I think the reason Toyotaro did it this way with his version is because later on he has Jiren give an entire speech about how good he is at conserving his energy. And that doesn't really happen in the anime. He doesn't give a big speech about how good he is at conserving his energy. So I think that's what it is. I think he knew that was coming. I think he knew he was going to have Jiren give that speech. So he was like, there's no reason for me to have Jiren sit still for half the tournament and whenever he's supposed to be so good at conserving his energy, But I will say, when the anime was running and Jiren like made a barrier and was like, nobody can fight me unless they can break this barrier.
That was a cool idea.
Yeah, I did think that was cool, and it was kind of like, it makes Jiren more egotistical, but it's kind of like Jiren being like, I exist outside of this whole thing. You guys are the ones dealing with this. I don't really have to deal with it at all. I'm totally fine. Like, it was almost like he was making a statement, like, I'm not worried. Like, I'm going to come out of this thing on top. You know, you guys should all be the ones being worried because I'm going to defeat you all with ease. So it was kind of him making a statement in some sense. But
like you said, it's ego-based.
Yeah, I do like that the direction that Toyotaro chose to go to, because it makes Jiren seem more pure, in my opinion. That he is concerned enough to at least make sure that his teammates aren't getting knocked off. You know, they do kind of make Jiren seem more callous in the anime, and I do like that here. There's more of a sense of concern. You know.
Yeah, and let me address Clips, because this is similar to what you're saying. He said, I prefer that Jiren is like, I will only help if needed. I actually don't disagree with Clips about this in principle, but here's the big difference. This is a tournament for the future of the multiverse and of your universe. This whole like break glass if necessary thing works on like maybe regular enemies when they don't have this problem. Here we have a situation where if they lose, they're getting wiped. I don't think Jiren should have had that attitude in this tournament. I think that I like what Toyotaro did more than the anime here. And that's my argument. Like, it's not that I don't think he was cool in the anime, it's that attitude, I think, fits better under a different context. This is literally for the future of your universe. Yeah. Get in there and do something. I love this panel right here, bro. Like, this is a real battle royal panel.
Spread, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome, bro. This is a difficult arc. I will give Toyotaro. I'm a lot more lenient on Toyotaro than I was before. I will give him grace in that this is a very difficult, very difficult arc to do. Very hard.
Oh, hell yeah. For sure.
Frost being Frost, Frieza, and and then Frost is trying to appeal to Frieza, but Frieza, it's like they know they can't trust each other, but Frieza's a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you playing him? Yeah. The thing is, like you said, it's a side effect of Frieza being humbled that he sees the mistakes in Frost. Like, basically, if Frieza never fought Goku, I don't think he would have been able to manipulate Frost like this.
Because his ego would have been too much. It would have,
right.
Yeah.
I think because Frieza had to do some self-reflection.
Yeah, because Goku broke him.
That is the reason he can see the flaws in Frost here and how easily manipulated he is, because he's basically looking at a younger, more naive, well, not necessarily younger, but a less experienced, more naive version of himself.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Frost is almost like Frieza when he was a teenager. Kind of looks like that too a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, the first doomed universe. So Krillin is out. Poor guy. He got eliminated before Ten Shinhan, and it was Vegeta and it was Frost who got him out, which I'm okay with. It's kind of a throwback to Frieza killing Krillin in the original manga, and so and then Beerus calling him Kudin. They know it's Kudin, not Kudin. So of course they're talking shit to each other, and then bam, Champa loses Dr. Rota. Dr. Rota, bro, that to this day we haven't got the answer of what Dr. Rota's secret is. But they didn't do that in the manga version. That was an anime only thing.
Yeah.
So over here we have, remember, Gohan gets a spotlight in the manga version. Here we have the trio, the Dangers, who I think those guys are cool. The three, I've always thought those guys were cool, and I wish they had their own show.
Yeah, what was that horror fighting game?
Thrill Kill?
No.
Oh no, you're thinking of Darkstalkers?
Yeah, they remind me a lot of Darkstalkers characters. A lot. Like a lot.
We went over this earlier, 227. I
Yeah,
think,
just go back a little bit. You'll see.
yeah, we went over that earlier. And again, like I said earlier, this is not an ego thing. This is a thing where a lot of people who claim to be experts on Dragon Ball, you can punch holes in their fucking logic, you know,
Yeah.
including myself, but very rarely because I'm a fucking G. So Gohan taking on all three, the ego, Gohan taking on all three of these guys is pretty badass. I feel like they got more of a spotlight in the anime version. I think they're way cooler in the anime version, but I do love their designs, bro. Like the three different colors, and they all have their own little powers. Like I dig it, bro. What do you think about the Trio de Dangers anime versus manga?
I think it's cool because they are a reflection of the fact that the team did not choose to focus on teamwork, and they are naturally.
Well,
They're a
and
team
Gohan says it. Teamwork's their gimmick, bro. It's a team battle royal, dummy. You're
Yep.
supposed to do
Well,
teamwork, and that's
he's just complaining about it.
no. But it's funny because that's what I was complaining about earlier. That at least the Trio de Dangers work. At least those three guys have a plan.
Yeah, I think that was their theme, is to show that like the benefit of teamwork, like early on in the tournament. You know.
You wrong for this, bro. But but he's probably right. Everybody says this about the manga, bro, and it's probably true. I mean,
It's definitely true.
it's probably true. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Oh, look at that. Tenshinhan gets to do his move, the Kikoho on Frost. Like that's gonna fucking work on Frost, bro. Frost is a little more beyond where Tenshinhan was at. And then here comes Frost, and out goes Tenshinhan. He didn't even do anything, bro. It almost felt like a waste of time to have him there. And it's too bad, Jordan, because all this does is justify all those people that say, "Well, TN sucks. I don't care about him," and skip original Dragon Ball. Like all that does is just justify that. I kind of wish they would have given him a little more of something.
Me too, and they did in the anime. But I do think that this is kind of a wake up call for Krillin and Tien Shinhan. I do think that it sucks that they were knocked out, but if they eventually use this as motivation from both characters to have them improve, I think it would be a cool payoff.
I always thought that this would be a great way, this tournament, to actually have Roshi, Krillin, and Tenshinhan retire from fighting and just become like instructors, which is what we know. Yeah, and that's what I was hoping they would do. Like, we don't get any more Tenshinhan fights after this, even though we do see him in the moral arc. I'm saying that's what I thought they were going to do, but then he's in the moral arc. But that was different because the Earth was in danger. If that's the case, you got to step up.
Yeah, and
you got to do your part.
They did make him a martial arts teacher in the anime, which I loved.
Well, and in Dragon Ball Online, and Toriyama was the one that kind of came up with that idea. That we know that
right,
for
it was a direct reference to Dragon Ball Online. Yeah.
Yes, and I called that out back then. So, Frieza and Frost again, and Frieza is basically suckering Frost in. Like, okay, go ahead and throw out these jabronis, because Frieza doesn't really care about them, but he's doing it all to win Frost's trust to eventually stick that knife in his back.
Yeah,
I can relate to you, Frost.
So ironic because the theme of Universe 7 is trust. They are the universe of trust.
Yeah, but they have Frieza on their team, and he's going to be chaotic as fuck, bro. He's going to do what he wants. I can relate to you, Frost. Frost, if you ever open up a YouTube channel, I'll tell you about some fucking backstabbing motherfuckers, bro. I would love to tell you that.
God.
So, okay, so Roshi and Frost, but Goku is like, wait a minute, no, hold on. I have to protect my master here, because Goku's love for Roshi is really, really nice.
Yeah.
The anime episode, you remember the anime episode and what a big deal it was when Goku was like pretty much crying when he thought Roshi was dead in the TOP? Do you have any memories of that episode?
Yeah, I do.
I loved it. I loved it because it actually showed like, okay, like this, I like seeing Goku being vulnerable like that.
Yeah, I think Roshi is his replacement Grandpa Gohan. You know, Roshi was Grandpa Gohan's master. The entire reason that Grandpa Gohan taught everything that he taught Goku was because he was taught by Roshi. So, and Roshi, although he is kind of aloof and he doesn't put in the effort and the empathy and the care that Grandpa Gohan does. Him and Goku do have this relationship where Goku respects him as a master. They have a different relationship because he's not his grandpa, you know, but it's his replacement in the sense that
father figure.
He's got all those strict disciplinary master like traits that Grandpa Gohan had. He's just not his grandpa. So like he kind of Roshi kind of took the place of his grandfather without becoming his grandfather. So of course Goku's gonna have feelings for him, you know.
I do love the love about OGTN. First of all, his name's Tenshin Han, all right? Get that TN dub shit out of your brain. Join my religion. Secondly, I will say this. I love the character of Tenshin Han, and I have been wanting to do a history of Tenshin Han for years because there's a lot of really cool shit with that character. Not just in Journey to the West, but like just overall, like all the ideas Toriyama put into him. But I know it would get 10 views because nobody cares about fucking Tien. Ooh, he sucks. He got killed by Nappa. And it's like, you know, the Z fucking, like, the thing is, unfortunately, is that this is a business, so I have to make videos that, even though I make videos for love of Dragon Ball, I have to make videos that get views and that can at least, you know, pay for themselves. And that's a video that I would love to put in the dedication and time just because I love that character, but it's not going to get no views. And it pisses me off because he should. Yeah. He's awesome. Dude, he was focused on in like 3 arcs in original Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he's one of the OGs.
I really love this like demonic bat guy here, getting Piccolo from behind. It reminds me of when fucking Piccolo got bit in the Garlic Jr. saga and pretended to be a nut job. Yeah. Look at I like this interaction. By the way, is that your final form? Yeah, what about you? You know, but of course, and then Frieza reveals that he's got one more transformation, which is what Cooler said in his movie, but he's talking about Golden Frieza.
Yeah, and he only has that transformation because of Goku.
Yeah, now Gohan's fighting these 3 guys, doing very well, and then Piccolo, he sees Piccolo's in danger, and then he goes to go fuck these guys up, including the back guy. He knocks them away, and they're pretty much done. But then here comes the rest of Universe 9, just right here, you know. So it's Gohan and Piccolo against Universe 9. Here comes Frost, who's got his own idea, right? He's about to freaking.
He wants to take them all out at once. He wants to take out the entire team with one blast. That's his goal.
Yes, he wants to do that. And here we have him showing his power. I actually like this because it shows that Frost is not Candy either, bro. He's not Frieza.
Yeah, but he's. You notice how much energy he's expelling?
Well, yeah, but the point is that he's not he's not Frieza, but he's not a pussy either, is what I'm trying to say. He can hold his own.
Frieza is like egging him on.
Yes, to get tired. Frieza's playing him.
This is when you can really start to see how much energy Frost is putting in and how much it's going to backfire.
Yeah, I really wanted more of this. I really did want more of the Frost Frieza thing, dude. I really did.
Look, he's struggling to even the grip contest with that guy. Like he's expelling all of his energy.
This is the Greco-Roman knuckle lock is what you're talking about. Or you can call it a wrist lock. But yes, he's using, and there's more of him using his energy.
Yep.
And he's got a lot of it, you know, you gotta give him credit. He's over here toasting Universe 9.
Yep.
And then Frieza's over here like, good work, you're impressive, you know?
Yep.
And then Frieza's like, yeah, I'll take on the rest of them. And then he's like, but I forgot to mention something. What's that? He grabs him by the neck, which is the ultimate insult. Never trust anyone. And then he punts his motherfucking ass. He punts him, bro. This is one of the best Frieza moments ever, dog. He played him the entire time to help not only eliminate other guys, but to get him tired, as you said, then grabs him by the neck and punts him the fuck out, bro.
Yep.
You have been played, huh?
Yep, Frieza's a genius. This was great.
And he did it for Universe 7 for the good side. And then they're like, that was all part of Frieza's plan. And Whis is like smirking. Thanks to you, I have far fewer troublesome fighters to worry about. Well done, Frost. And he's like, I got played. You know what I would like, bro? If someday Frost came after Frieza and wanted revenge, bro. That'd be a nice little storyline.
That would be awesome. And it would feed into Frieza being a multiversal threat. Because if Frieza becomes a multiversal threat, they'd be able to trick Frost into being a good guy to help him take down Frieza.
You know what would pop me, bro? If Frost confronted Frieza and was like, haha, I've learned
got a new form.
And he goes golden, and then Frieza's like, okay, let me show you mine. Then he goes black and just that'd be
so cool.
That would be great. And then he could tell him there's a classic line in pro wrestling, classic line that the whenever they do a teacher versus student feud, they always use this line, which is, I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything I know. And so that could be a line that Frieza would use in that. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
Hey, man, I'm going to let my dog in. She's been scratching for a minute.
Okay. Sarcastic ass. Yeah, that's me, bro. I'm very sarcastic. I hope you know. I hope that's okay, bro, because we had a guy in here a few weeks ago. He didn't like my sarcasm, bro, which is like saying you don't like me. I'm always very sarcastic. Like Raphael would say from the Ninja Turtles, TMNT. Here we have the Trio de Dangers. I'll wait for Jordan, but I want to narrate this part real quick. Yeah, you fight great, but I'm a great fighter. Yeah, you YouTube great, but I'm a great YouTuber. Yeah, if it ever happens is the right comment. I don't think they're going to add that much Ego Star. I think they're going to take stuff out, mostly. I think they're going to take stuff out. Of course, I don't know. Because right now, things are very weird with the way they're doing things. But, yeah, I think that's, yeah. Jordan, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm on my way back.
When do I show them the Krillin thing?
I think it's in the last chapter of the volume.
Okay, because I don't even remember that being in there. Okay, so the Trio de Dangers are there, and then bam, they get blasted and eliminated by Frieza. And look what he says. Only a fool would leap in the air at the edge. You fool, you trapped yourself. He's right, because when you're in the air, you can't fly, so you can't control where you're going, and Frieza took the advantage, just blasted him out.
Right, yeah, genius.
Clips, it's not about them being pussies, bro. It's about, brother, look, it's about the fact that they feel like the moral arc takes priority, and I'll be honest, the moral arc takes priority. Yeah, let's listen. Dragon Ball Super, the old shit is what it is. Let's focus on the moral arc. I am not upset.
Yeah, and it would not hurt us to see Battle of Gods, ROF, the moral arc, and then Universe 6 versus Universe 7, the Black Arc, Tournament of Power, and Granola. Like, it wouldn't, it just gives.
Oh, so you're saying that they finish it later, and then
yeah. It gives them time.
That'd be weird, but yeah.
It gives them time to put actual effort into the new arcs, which is what I want. You know,
I just think that when they get to Tournament of Power, like I was saying earlier, they're gonna mostly cut stuff out than like add stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Clips, I agree with you completely. It's very weird.
But it's either look, here's the thing.
It's very weird.
It's just new content. Okay? Basically, you can think of it as just bonus content because you were going to get the moral arc no matter what.
Tell them.
So thinking of it as like, oh, why are they doing this? No, it's just bonus. It's just a bonus, right? It's
Jordan,
more. It's not,
Jordan, when do you turn 40?
5 years.
Okay, that's right. You're way younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm 42, bro, and I just can't. And this is not Clips, by the way. What I'm about to say is not reflection of Clips, because Clips is not like this. I'm not picking on Clips. Clips is not like this. I get really tired of people bitching about shit like, well, why are they doing Xenoverse 3? Why not Fighters 2? Like, because Xenoverse 2 made a lot of money and they want to make a sequel to it. Like, this is not like, well, why is this coming out and not that? It's like, there's always a reason, even if you don't agree with it. And like I said, I'm just tired of the bitching.
And the same people will be bitching about there being no Xenoverse 3 until there is a Xenoverse 3.
And then they're going to bitch about that.
Yeah.
Well, why is it taking so long? You think why is GTA 5 or no 6? Why is GTA 6 taking so long? Yeah, like I said, I'm not picking on clips. It's just that like I all the damn time I see people bitching, and it's like, dude, like we talked about earlier, bro. We were talking about being blessed. Maybe it's something that happens to you when you hit your 30s, but I don't know, man. I don't really complain about things, bro. Like, how often you've heard me complain about injustices that have happened to me, but I don't complain about like what's happening with Dragon Ball. I mean, yeah, obviously I want the manga back. We all want more stuff, but just the bitching, man. Well, I don't know, man. I'm too old for this shit.
I think a lot of it is as you get older, you start to lose consumer mentality because you start to understand what actually goes behind the production of these products, and then you realize that it's not as simple as you think to create these products. You know, the entire world economy is shit right now. So honestly, we should just be lucky that anything's happening. All of this is a blessing. And the more effort and time they put into something, the better it overall is. I don't know about you, but I'm also tired of getting things that aren't done right. I think that's also something that happens. When you get older, you learn to be more patient because you want to have things that are you want to have quality things that people have put effort into. You don't want to just you get tired of having slop thrown at you all the time because of this demand to have things quickly. We have this really weird like backwards view on things where we complain about things not happening quickly enough, and then whenever we get it, we complain about the quality of it, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. And I think as you get older, you basically start to see the contradiction in that, and you're less likely to complain in that sense.
With respect, in Zamasu we trust, there's no excuse that the Moro arc took 8 years to animate. Brother, you sound really ignorant. You are very behind on what's going on. I recommend that you watch a video on this channel called Where is Dragon Ball Super? Why Dragon Ball Daima? And you will know why Super was gone for so long. I've answered this question I don't know how many times. You're very misinformed. It didn't take 8 years to animate. They started animating it now. This guy makes it seem like they started working on Moro in 2020 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of corporate stuff behind the scenes that put gums in the works.
But I've covered all this. And now, I do have to address this just before we move on. From Mizukame. People just don't realize the estate left behind Toriyama-sama is Japan's GDP. So they have been in legal talks since his untimely passing a few years ago. This is what Toei and his estate agreed. Actually, all of this that you just said is wrong, bro. I'm not trying to pick on you, but this is wrong, objectively. There is no statement that's been made about Toriyama's estate. Toriyama's estate is not Japan's GDP. I don't know what Instagram page you got that from. There have not been legal talks with Toriyama's estate. All of this is wrong. The only legal talks is between Akio, Capsule Corporation, and Shueisha. There's nothing going on with Toriyama's estate. And I've looked into every report about this, bro. So I don't know where you're getting this from, bro. I don't know what Facebook group you got this from, bro, but that's objectively false. Jordan, have you heard anything about Toriyama's estate being in a legal battle with Toei?
No, nothing.
Nothing. That's fake news, bro.
So if something like that was happening, I would assume you would tell me. So,
I mean, one of us would talk about it. Me, Hype, Chronicles, Venixis. Venixis translates all of the interviews. He would definitely know. No, none of that's going on, bro. All right, El Nerdy Senpai, you think they'll still air the Goku Black arc, or they'll make us do our own homework until the new stuff? That's a good question. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea.
We have no way of knowing that. a lot of people have been making the argument that because Battle of Gods and ROF are movies, that they feel justified in redoing them in this like weird anime format. It's like, I guess you could call it,
Which
more
I
like
don't. Just keep them as movies, but whatever.
streaming format. I guess I should say like that's the reason that they're doing it, is because it's just a remastered version of the film and the anime that's going into streaming format. Now, if those
hold on. How did I know? Let me guess. It was the AI video from that guy who said that Dragon Ball literally carries fucking Japan's, which I debunked on this channel. Joe, remember the video where that guy said that Dragon Ball is literally, that Dragon Ball's success, it carries the Japanese economy? And in the video, I said, well, I guess that means that from 1998 to 2013, the Japanese economy was shit then, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Common fucking sense, dog. I don't know if this is the video he saw, but I'm pretty sure that it's that. Also, this question, probably TikTok at this rate, bro. But Jordan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro. Continue your point.
It's fine. It's fine. All I'm saying is, you know, because they're adapting 2 movies, they could use the excuse that they're adapting movies and then not animate the rest of Dragon Ball Super. But, you know, we didn't even know. I mean, you did because you reported on it, but the fans didn't even know that they were going to do ROF until Nozawa and all that stuff
until this past weekend.
Yeah.
Or no, 2 weekends ago. Whatever.
So I don't think there's any reason to jump to conclusions. I think they're basically just trying to use their resources wisely, and I think that's intelligent. I think that's an intelligent move. And
right.
As far as the rest of it, you know, just wait and see what happens. All I know is I want a high quality Moro arc. That's
too.
all I know.
Me too.
So as long as the Moro arc is high quality, I'm not going to complain at all about the Beerus remake, the ROF remake. I'm not going to complain at all. It's just bonus stuff, right? So,
yeah, let's wait and see how it is. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Mizukami, one last thing. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go back to that video and scroll down the comments until you find this guy, right? He's got a suit on with a neck beard, and his account is Real Geekdom 101. And what he wrote in that video was, this is complete bullshit and easily debunked. That guy wrote that. Now, I don't know how he knows, except for its, you know, common sense and the fact that saying that Japan's economy relies on Dragon Ball might be one of the stupidest, most
silliest.
Like, think about how stupid that is, bro. No offense. I'm not trying to pick on you, bro. I'm just surprised that you actually fell for that, but I see a lot of people falling for it, bro. Like, think logically here, bro. How the fuck can one series carry an entire country? That's like saying that if the MCU fails, America's economy is going to go belly up. How does an entertainment series carry the economy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Japan makes cars, video games, microchips. No, they only make anime.
Right.
Again, it sounds like I'm picking on the guy, but common sense, bro. And I get called a dick because I call out people that don't have common sense. And I'm not trying to pick on the dude, but like, just think a little bit. That's all you got to do. Right. A little bit. All I want is for people to use that beautiful spaghetti noodle they have between their ears. All right. So more eliminations here. The Trio of the Dangers is gone. Frieza
did the same thing where he waited on him to be distracted and like weak, and then knocked him out again. He's literally just like waiting for people to be sitting close to the edge and then like running around and kicking them off.
Yeah, and also something else too that I want you to look at what he says here. This is a survival game and our very existence online. This is what I thought was hoping Jiren would do. Like, no, this is our existence, bro. We got to work together, even if we don't like each other. Nobody likes Frieza, but they got to work with him. So Universe 9 has lost, and that's bad. And now we're seeing the first deletion of a universe, right?
Right.
And here we see it, bro. Zeno just goes like that, and they're gone. They're just
There's that angel that everybody accused of being evil in the anime.
Well, they accused all the angels of being evil, but you know what it
but
is, Jordan? It's
the
his
one that
fucking
had
hair.
that sinister look. He was the one that had that sinister look on his face.
Well, it's also that fucking haircut, bro. He's almost got the hair of the fucking. He's almost got the hair of either the Dragon Quest XI protagonist or the guy on the oatmeal box, and that's instant heat with some people. He's got that evil haircut, bro. So Universe 9 is Gonzo, and that includes planets, organisms, and gods, except for the angel. And now we resume fighting, but everyone's kind of, I like that everyone's kind of shook a little bit. Like if you look at these reaction panels, like everyone's shook because they're actually seeing the power of Zeno. Remember, only Goku and those in the future timeline saw him wipe Trunks' future timeline universe thing. Here, all of the people are witnessing that this man, this creature, with the blink of an eye, has just wiped out an entire universe. We've never seen power like that, ever in Dragon Ball. We have never seen power like that.
Right. So this guy says that, Mecha J said that the look the Grand Priest gives Goku, the upset face, does leave the implication that he was being shady.
That was in the anime. I made a whole video about it.
I don't think about him being shady. I think about who the Grand Priest is psychologically and what he's looking at when he's looking down. He's looking at a bunch of mortals who are struggling to survive because they couldn't develop in the way that he wanted them to. So I don't think that look is him being shady. I think that look is him judging them and being like, hey, you know, this is, just like Frieza said, this is a battle of survival. Like, I'm watching you guys to see if you're worthy of even keeping around. You know, it's not even necessarily evil. It's just, it's kind of him just basically, you know, flexing his position in the multiversal hierarchy of power. You know, that's the way I've always seen it.
Yes. Mizukame, just to clarify about the misinformation DB video I saw, I never believed the part about the GGP part. Well, you did fucking comment it, bro. If you didn't believe it, you shouldn't have commented it. But he says, just that Toriyama Sensei's family wanted his legacy honored between them and Toei, you're good. Well, the reason I got mad, I'm not, and I want to clarify this once again. I'm not picking on you and I'm not mad at you or any of that shit. What irritates me about that video is when I saw that video and I looked at the comments, yeah, Dragon Ball rocks, Dragon Ball, oh, I never knew this, that's cool. When it's like, you're literally telling me that you believe that one manga anime franchise covers the entire economy of Japan. Like, listen, you don't have to be an economic wizard. You don't have to be fucking Graham Stephan to understand how stupid that fucking is, bro. Like, that's just common sense. So I'm not, when I rant about common sense, it's not that I'm ranting at you. I'm ranting at the fact that people don't use common sense. You know, that's what it is. Because that one's really stupid. I'm not, like, it's one thing to believe like a Dragon Ball lie, like, oh, Toriyama wanted to end the series at Frieza. That's just a rumor that gets spread. That right there defies logic to me.
Yeah, and I won't say that Dragon Ball or anime as a whole doesn't do a lot for Japan's economy. But the idea that if Dragon Ball wasn't around, that the economy would tank completely is just ridiculous. Because Dragon Ball hasn't been around for how long has it not been around?
Not just that, but from the end of GT in 97 to 2013's Battle of Gods. So all those years, bro, fucking everybody, all those years, people were on the streets starving and asking for food, bro. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how could somebody be that stupid? Ugh. That's actually worse than Disney buys Dragon Ball. Which, by the way, Disney Plus is going to be airing episodes of Super now, so I'm sure I'm going to hear that one again. Oh, see, it's on Disney Plus. They own it. WWE is also on Disney Plus. Do they own WWE?
Yeah.
Of course they do, bro, because nobody thinks. So this is not about Mizukama. It's about people on Instagram. That's really, right. I'm ranting at the people on Instagram, not at this particular guy.
Right.
Okay, Universe 9 is gone. We covered that. Next chapter, Hit versus Jiren. Okay, different order of events in this version because that didn't happen until Dragon Ball Super episode 111. This was obviously before. Goku's taking on Toppo and Dispo, which again, that was different. It was a different order in the anime version. How do you feel about them doing this? Goku using all his forms and against the Pride Troopers before Jiren? Do you have a preference?
I mean, the way that they did it well, first of all, he did use blue in the anime before he used it against Jiren. So he didn't necessarily like save Super Saiyan Blue for Jiren. I did like that.
Right, he used it against Kale before that.
Yeah, he also used it against the Trio de Dangers too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do really like how they handled the fight in the anime where he goes through all the forms. I thought it was awesome. Like the fight sequence, the animation sequence was great. But I do think if you're going to do a manga version of the story, you should probably use the relevant characters more. And the Pride Troopers are more relevant characters, so it makes sense that they would use them earlier. You know.
Yeah, and the whole Kale thing we're going to get into because Toyotaro did something very different in the manga. Like, he really went in a whole other direction. We're going to get to that when we get there. Which I'm not saying it's good or bad. We'll talk about it when we get there. So, Goku and Toppo. I think obviously Toppo's not going at full power, even though he's saying
battle is no place for mercy.
I was just going to say, but he's still not at full power because
he has to power up to use all his power. Right.
Yeah, and he's also got remember, he's been training as the god of destruction, so he's got a lot in there to go. You know, and he's like, I'm running out of juice before I even get to fight Jiren. And that was an interesting perspective. Now here, this is kind of bullshit. Okay, Jiren beats Hit, but I'm sorry, Jordan, I like the anime version better when he creates the fucking...
The fight's not over yet.
No, but I'm just saying I like the anime version better because I love the time cage and all that stuff.
Jiren does the thing where he like runs through him, kind of like Goku did in Ultra Instinct at the end of the turn of the.
Just do over 6.
Well, no. Whenever Goku goes Ultra Instinct and then he just dashes through Jiren and he like hits him a bunch of times. That's basically what Jiren did here, except he just did one quick blow.
Brother, you do not have to apologize, bro. It's okay. Nobody's mad at you. I told you. Nobody's upset at you. Stop apologizing. You didn't do anything wrong.
I do like what they do with Hit here in a minute. I do think that the anime focused more on Hit as an assassin. The manga, the manga focuses more on Hit as a martial artist. So they focus.
I agree.
They focus way more on Hit's development with Goku when it comes to his fight.
And Jiren, actually. Jiren also gets focused more as a martial artist in the manga.
Yeah.
This would be Ego Star. This would be great for its own show. Not an arc, its own separate show. I've been preaching that one forever, bro. So I love that Goku's like, fuck it, and goes into blue, knocks everybody away, and goes right for Jiren, bro. Goku has eyes only for Jiren, bro. Goku, he has peripheral vision now that he wants to fight Jiren. Goku is drooling at the chance to test himself against Jiren, bro. Yep. And then Jiren just fucking puts his arm out like, get the fuck away from me, bro, and just knocks him back like nothing. And everybody's like, what? He didn't even be barely moved. Yeah. And remember, Goku's in blue.
Yep. I think full power blue too, because he doesn't have an aura.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's possible. Goku says, your time skip didn't work on him. Hit. He goes, no, to think it used to be an unbeatable technique. Look at me now. I guess it's going to take regular old punches to beat this guy. Well, yep. I mean, time skipping is also punches. And then we're here to assist. No, don't. I'll defeat these two on my own. And that goes back to him wanting to do it all himself and not have his friends involved. And now this was cool. Goku and Hit working together, I thought was a cool thing. Goku's got instantaneous movement, which is fast. That's definitely super fast. And he tries to get the jump on Jiren. Jiren hits him with the back fist. He goes for a kick. Jiren blocks it. I mean, it's just, Jiren is of that classic, bro. Huh?
He's schooling him.
Yeah, barely moving, bro. Barely moving. Blocking everything. Not a single hit goes through. Goku goes for a ki blast. Jiren, doesn't even feel it. Knocks it away. This whole thing is just being done. It's the manga version of when Goku went at Jiren in 109 with all his different forms, and Jiren blocked Super Saiyan God with one finger. Jordan, I don't know if you were following me back then, but I was live tweeting during that episode. and I fucking in all caps was like, he blocked Super Saiyan God with one finger. And the people that couldn't see it because the feed, they weren't watching the feed, the Japanese feed were like, what? Stop lying. I'm like, he blocked the Super Saiyan God punch with one. I remember Seth, the programmer, was like, no way. Like, because Seth has this thing where when you start talking about power scaling, he makes these noises that are almost orgasmic. I'm serious too. I sent him a little thing from years ago. I sent him a little picture from the One Punch Man booklet that talked about how one of the villains was planet level, and he goes, oh, and I go, what the fuck was that noise you just made? I swear to God, I'm not making this up, bro. And he's like, oh, I've been wanting this information for so long. I don't know, bro. He's a different cat, all right? But anyways, my point is people were losing their minds over this whole thing, bro, over Jiren. He hit him with a Genki Dama, with a spirit bomb, and Jiren just with one hand pushed it back. Majin Buu couldn't do that.
Yep. He didn't even look at it. Or no, he didn't even touch it. I think he uses his eye.
No, he just pushed it back. Well, he used his eyes on Goku. That was later.
No. I think whenever he throws a spirit bomb at him, he has his arms crossed the entire time, and he just pushes it back with his sight, if I remember correctly. I don't even think he uses his arms.
You might be right. You might be right. Because I know he did do that thing where it would zoom in on his eyes and he would do shit.
Yeah.
Because he was moving faster than, not just faster than light, faster than light.
Yeah.
Like, this was a different level, bro. Jiren and Goku was a crazy fight. Crazy fucking fight. So he pimp smacks Goku away here, right? This is all action, I mean, pretty much. They're still going at it, but Goku does not want to get eliminated right here. He's very close to getting eliminated. Jiren's about to hit him with the finishing blow, right? And look what he says. You should have picked an opponent down at your own level. Regret your choices as you fall. Nameless warrior from Universe 7. He'll remember him. I'm not a nameless warrior. My name is Son Goku. And then bam, Hit saves him. Now here's the question. Why would Hit save him if Goku being eliminated is a good thing? Well, because Hit felt like him and Goku together would be a better match than Jiren. Plus, look what he says here. Consider my debt from the last tournament paid, Son Goku. That's his honor, bro. That's Hit's honor. What do you think about that?
That's awesome. He also compliments him on not even using time skip. He just kicks him normally.
Because Jiren wasn't paying attention. He was focused on
Yeah. So he's basically saying, he's like, I'm not relying on my assassin techniques anymore. I'm going to be a martial artist for this fight, which I think is cool. That's the reason he takes his little coat thing off, his little shirt.
Wouldn't the ideal thing is to use both the martial arts and yeah, that's what I'm saying. Heesh is in the chat. He's saying hi to us.
What's up, Heesh?
I'm doing the stupid the autistic wave. I call this the autistic wave. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, like you said, Hit took off his trench coat, right, which is symbolic of him like the kind of discarding his old methods. Yeah, and exactly. I like that. I like it, bro. Now this part of the fight I do enjoy. Going in with Hit's going in with everything he's got, right? And of course, Jiren is Jiren. And then, you know, obviously Goku realizes that Hit is more powerful now than he was back in the Universe 6 when he fought him last time. And then, of course, here comes Goku. So basically Hit and Goku are kind of tag teaming, taking turns on Jiren here. And here they're both going at Jiren, and Jiren's just blocking them both. How do you feel about the way they did this in the manga in comparison to Super Episode 111, where it was just Jiren versus Hit after Goku had already fought Jiren in a UI Omen first?
The manga is much more about teamwork than the anime is. I think we talked about
sure.
I think that was something we talked about in the last episode. In the anime, they are all focusing their faith and their hopes into Goku. Not that Goku didn't need help from Frieza and 17 and all that, but it's just not as much the focus here as it was in the anime in terms of like Goku being the focus. Like here, they keep trying to remind Goku that he's going to need help. They keep trying to remind him throughout the entire manga. So this is kind of foreshadowing for how the Tournament of Power ultimately ends and how the fight with Jiren ultimately ends. And in that sense, for the manga, I think it works. For the manga, I think it works really well.
I want to comment on something, go full screen here for a minute, because this is something that was talked about back then that I think a lot of people forget. This arc, the Tournament of Power, for both anime and manga, Akira Toriyama wrote very, very little details. And we know this based on interviews with both Nagamine and with Toyotaro. Toriyama basically wrote who eliminates who, and like he didn't really even specify the order except for like the important characters.
Right.
So he basically submitted like a little summary of the tournament with bullet points going over who eliminates who, what they can do, little notes. And Toei had to take that and adapt it in with their vision, just like how Toyotaro had to for the manga. Now, this is where the canon argument falls apart, because Toriyama wrote very, very basic bullet points. The way that he had it pictured in his head, we'll never know. The anime and manga took those bullet points and not only added to them, but straight up made up new characters like Kale, which was not a Toriyama creation. So the reason why I'm highlighting this is that I always have a smirk on my face when somebody says that the Tournament of Power is canon, because the Tournament of Power is written unlike any other arc in history. And I'll be honest with you about this one, Jordan, and I think if you study Toriyama, you'll agree with me. I don't think Toriyama would have ever actually done an arc like this himself.
No.
I think he probably saw how difficult this was and was like, fuck it, I'll let the anime staff and Toyotaro do it. Because
he said that. He said that.
Yeah.
He said that the type of stories that he wrote for Dragon Ball Super, he would not have wrote if he was drawing it. He said
it's not even about being lazy. I know some people think that. It's just let's just be honest here, okay? Let's be very honest with everybody. Writing an arc with a fight with 48 or so characters, that's not easy, dude. That is not easy to do. You know what I'm saying?
It's also Toriyama cheesing over his popularity and his celebrity status to the point that he can have an entire team of people work on a story that he just gave them bullet points for. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you, if you were Toriyama in that position, you were grinning from ear to ear because you got to be creative, but you didn't have to put in all the hard work. So it's like, yeah.
That's it. And that, again, people are going to say that's laziness because, okay, he says Toriyama decided to give Toyotaro and Toei freedom with this. Yeah, but it's not just that. It's the fact that I think based on every interview I've ever seen from Akira Toriyama, right? I think that he thought about this. And if we were living in an alternate reality where Toriyama was doing a weekly manga like he used to about this, he would have never done a battle royal. He would have never done a battle royal. I fucking assure you of that. Because Toriyama knows his own strengths and weaknesses. And for Toriyama to have felt responsible for giving everybody enough time, enough paneling, like, I think Toriyama would have pulled his own fucking hair out trying to make this into a manga.
He didn't have any hair left to pull out, so
But you get my point. I'm glad you understand. This is not about him being lazy. No. It's more so like, fuck it, I'm never gonna be able to do this, so I'll see if they can do it.
Toriyama was lazy by nature, but he was not lazy in practice. He's actually one of the most hardworking people who ever walked the face of the earth.
He's lazy for some things, but not other things. Is what you're trying to say. He's just
got a lazy nature. Like me, I have a lazy nature, but I work my ass off. Like when people hear lazy, they think of somebody like not working or doing anything. No, it's just lazy people. In some cases, would rather just be sitting somewhere in a relaxing area, not having to think that much, just enjoying themselves. I would love that. Like, there's a part of me who wishes I was on an island, like next to the ocean, just sitting there relaxing, not having to worry about anything. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that I don't work my ass off. Like, just because you would prefer to have something like that going on doesn't mean that you don't work hard. And I think that's where a lot of people get mixed up when it comes to Toriyama being lazy.
Right. I agree with you. And also he gets called lazy incorrectly over things that aren't lazy. Like, oh, well, his explanation was this. Yeah, but he's also a comedy writer. Like, come on. So, Starblast says, I think he could have written a better bullet point, though, than Piccolo getting knocked away by the bug. Well, remember, he didn't write every elimination, just the important ones. Toei, because remember, Kale eliminates a bunch of people. He didn't even write Kale. So you got to remember that he wrote only the major eliminations, not the minor ones. He let them be creative on their own. Yeah. Probably because he probably just didn't want to deal with it. He just didn't want to deal with this idea of writing everyone's elimination in detail. He didn't write, like, you know, 3 punches and a body slam. No, he didn't do that. He's never been like that. And the same thing goes for Resurrection F and Broly and Superhero. A lot of people credit Toriyama for those stories, and he should be credited. But if you actually read the script, Gogeta Blue fights Broly. He uses Super Saiyan and then Blue, and then Broly gets stronger. Make it look cool. That's literally how he writes. If we have the Resurrection F screenplay. It came out with the F book. Son Goku and Frieza have a great battle. That's it. That's all he wrote. Then the anime has to come up with what the battle is. So that's why, once again, the 100% definitive canon is the original manga. Everything else after has been meddled with, except Jocko. And that's what I've been saying for years. Like, is it really canon compared to the original manga when you have 2 different versions of the Tournament of Power, 2 different versions of Goku Black?
I would say the greatest evidence of this is that
common sense.
Well,
but what do I know, Jordan? Facebook says there's a canon.
In the Tournament of Power, Nagamine actually had to talk to Toriyama about how to properly characterize Jiren. And even after he was, even after he talked to Toriyama, he still kind of there was some guesswork there. He said in an interview that he believed that this was Toriyama's intentions for the character, but that he did not 100% know because of the amount of detail that Toriyama gave him. So he actually had to goad information out of Toriyama for Jiren's characterization for this arc. So yeah, there is a lot of evidence that Toriyama basically just gave them the most basic of things he could, and then had to essentially, anytime they had an issue where they were like, I don't know exactly how to characterize this character, they could reach out to Toriyama and get advice from him. But in terms of him like giving them like super in-depth scripts, that was never his style. He never did things like that.
Yeah, no, very simple stuff. And that's why when he went to go see Superhero and Broly, he was like, wow, this movie was amazing. The visuals were, if he created it, he wouldn't be saying that. But he created the story, but he's watching this movie and he's like, wow. He commented on it. He's like, I went to go see the movie. The staff did a great job. The fights were fun. Like, this is great. Like, he put it over, bro. And, this is not true, Trenton. He didn't know Daima was coming then. Come on, bro. Come on, man. We've gone over this. Okay, so back to the manga. What do you think about this? Goku powers down and basically says he wants to beat Jiren on his own. And he's like, we don't have a chance right now. We have to overcome this. And then hits like, fuck it, I'll take him on my own. What do you think about this, bro? I think it's a little foolish. At the same time, it's also Goku knowing his limitations. How do you feel about this whole decision from Goku?
It kind of makes it seem like Goku knows he's going to aim for Ultra Instinct.
Or something higher, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. It's like
he didn't know what UI was, like, definitively.
Right. And later on, he tries to just power up past Super Saiyan Blue. He doesn't try to use Ultra Instinct. But what I'm saying is it seems like it's like basically an acknowledgement that like Jiren is just a wall that he can't surpass right now just by punching it. You know what I mean? And he even agrees. Like, he agrees. He's like, yeah, he's out of our league, but I think I can take him out using this method that I'm going to try. Yeah. So this is where Hit basically like falls to strategy, because he does agree with Goku that like Jiren's not going to be taken down the classical way anymore. They gave that a shot. They gave martial arts a shot, and it didn't work. So this is basically Goku giving up is basically confirmation in Hit's mind that the martial arts approach is not going to take Jiren down. That's sort of the narrative that's being spun.
They need a higher power, is what you're saying. Yeah. Trenton was joking, y'all. Quit picking on him. Only I can pick on him. No, okay, so Hit, and look what, and I like this right here. Hey, that idiot powered down. Is that one of the Saiyans' bad habits? Not exactly. What's he even thinking? And then Hit's going in there and he's powering up because he wants to hit, no pun intended, this new technique. I don't remember this technique. Was this in the anime? I don't.
It's kind of like what was in the anime, but it's a little bit different.
Because I don't remember him using this in the anime at all.
This is called a time stasis. And what this is...
Well, the time cage was in the anime. That's what you're talking about?
This is a time stasis. This is different. What this does is this makes Jiren... It makes time slow down only for Jiren, and it makes him think that Hit is moving at like super duper duper speed. So essentially, Hit is trying to trick Jiren into thinking that he's still moving normally, but he's actually moving super slow, and Jiren thinks that Hit is moving like way faster than he was before. That's what's happening. And we've even talked about it here in just a minute.
Yeah, time lag is what he calls it here. So Jiren goes for a punch and he actually misses, right? And that's kind of to your point. He's like, wait a minute, why is Jiren moving so slow? And he said, I call it time lag. Time's being warped for Jiren and him alone, which slows him down. And then, Whis says, another way to manipulate time under that technique, the flow of time is only affected where Jiren is concerned. And since Jiren's the target from his perspective, Hit must appear to be moving at super speed. So, you know where they kind of got this from? If you really are a nerd, they kind of got this from Kang the Conqueror, the comic version. Yeah. Kang the Conqueror has this device. I think it's called like the probability circuit, where it's a device that he has on it. You actually see it in the He Who Remains has it in the MCU. And this ability, basically what it does is it examines every possibility, every possible timeline for what an opponent's move is going to be. So like if Thor goes for a punch, this thing will anticipate the punch before he even does it. And so Kang can dodge and do moves. It's one of the most OP ideas ever invented in history, because he's got the ability to to basically access every timeline possibility and probability in history to strategize against his opponent. This is like a lesser version of that. Maybe someday, you know what? Maybe someday, fuck, man. I wish that they didn't cancel Kang Dynasty, because you know what I was thinking, bro? You know what would be a fun video to do with Chuck? Kang versus Hit.
That would be cool.
The Battle of Time Lords.
That would.
You know what? I might still do that, bro. Hold on a minute. I'm telling him right now, what do you think about this? Hit versus Kang, the Battle of Time Lords. Because that'd be a badass video, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we go into all that shit, bro. He's not the Cybercuck anymore, bro. But, okay. So, because you can't really call yourself that on here anymore. So, Hit is not only dodging Jiren's blows, but he's actually connecting. He's actually hitting Jiren. So we're seeing a more vulnerable Jiren. Now, Jvados, just like in the anime version, says something very similar. I already went over this, bro. This is not the stream for that, but I guess somebody asked. There's more to it than this. Hit's really thought this through. At his current power level, he can't freeze Jiren in place, but it's more than possible to slow him down. Plus, it seems like this technique lasts far longer than his time-skipping one. That's a good thing, right? This works for us. Even though the opponent can still move, those slow attacks are simple enough to dodge. Hit's evolved his technique to overcome his weakness. And then Champa becomes a cheerleader. So
yeah.
So Hit has the advantage, but what he's not counting on is but he's not counting on two things. Number one, as Goku says, Jiren's been holding back. And number two, Jiren can take a lot of hits. No pun intended. He's a tank. He's everything. So all of a sudden, Jiren is waiting for the opportunity. He uppercuts.
Yeah.
He uppercutted him out of the fucking ballpark, bro,
Yep.
and sent him flying. One punch, bro. The previous antagonist from Universe 6, the captain of Team Universe 6, has been eliminated, bro. The captain. He was the captain, bro, and he's gone.
Yep.
And it was a one-hit KO. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it goes into narratively Jiren being really good at just using the power that he needs necessary to defeat his opponents. Essentially, they've been fighting a super suppressed Jiren this entire time.
Right. And he says, well done, noticing that I wasn't fighting seriously. And then Goku says, so you purposely left yourself open, letting him push you to the edge so you could just turn the tables like that, saving your strength. So he let the fight go to the edge and let sort of hit approach him, and then he was able to uppercut him back. That is a great strategy, and it shows that Jiren isn't just
because Goku recognized that, Jiren calls him by his name.
right, and that's respect. And the thing is, I think this scene in particular is better for Jiren's character than the anime version. I think maybe Toyotaro saw that people were saying that Jiren was one dimensional and maybe added this to kind of
It's
make him
also
more
a
interesting.
manga, not an anime, so you can't have a character who just doesn't talk. You know, like the means in which they are trying to use Jiren in the anime complements the idea that he's a quiet, stoic character who doesn't say much because it's anime. It's very easy to use a character like that in an anime format. In a manga, you can't. There needs to be dialogue. There needs to be character interactions. Otherwise, it gets boring. So I think that's something else that Toyotaro recognizes, that, he'll have to implement Jiren in a little bit of different way, regardless of whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, I think it was a good move. I am with Toyotaro on this. I really am. Remember that stupid ass rumor that it was Hit's clone and that he was never eliminated? Yeah, I know.
He's still there. He's still there.
He's still there, bro.
Yeah.
And that's another one that I debunked week 1 and turned out to be right. Just like Goku Black is Goten and Goku threw the fight against Frost and all the stupid shit that people say. All right, now, so correct me if I'm wrong, or what do you think about this? It seems like Vegeta here is going into completed blue, because the way that you see the energy, he powers up and then it kind of dissipates a bit, right? So it looks like he's doing completed blue there on the panel to the left. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he sucked his aura in, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't even have any aura. He's just going in, and it seems like he's
it would
doing
be
completed
ridiculous
blue.
for them not to try and use Master Super Saiyan Blue at this point if they've got it,
But do you notice that his hair still kind of looks like the royal blue, blue evolution? Remember how it was a little bit of a different shade?
Yeah, it doesn't full on change color until here in a little bit when he actually gets it within the manga. But yeah, it still does. Toyotaro does give Vegeta a different shade of blue than he does Goku the entire manga. It is really different.
But remember, bro, the manga was black and white.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't until the color version that we really.
He gave an interview about how he gave Vegeta and Goku different color hair in both Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue because he wanted to highlight the difference in their personalities, which a lot of people call bullshit on. They were like, that doesn't even make any sense. But he did say that.
No, I'm not denying it. I'm saying that it's funny that we didn't really see the difference in color until the colored version came out. Right. And that's why, I don't know if you remember this, but we talked about this like years ago, that the colored version of the manga, remember it used to drop like every few months or whatever, it was behind, sometimes would give us context and information without meaning to, that wasn't in the black and white version. That's why we're using it here. Because I think that the color version of Super is the definitive way of reading it, in my view.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that gets lost in the sauce. Yeah.
And it looks better. I think it's easier on the eyes.
Yeah.
The original manga, you can make an argument because some people don't like the color version of the original Dragon Ball. But for Super, I think it works.
I think it's because the black and white manga is 3 tones instead of 2 tones like the old manga. So the gray can be a lot on your eyes, like the extra gray tones that Toyotaro uses all the time. You might as well, if anybody knows anything about manga, you'll know that if you're going to use 3 tones, you might as well just color the manga. Like, you might as well. I mean, it takes just as much effort to use 3 tones as it does to, like, just go ahead and color it. Like, so I think that's the reason that the color edition kind of seems like the definitive edition.
He used the 3 tones to differentiate between Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan Blue, which I understand, but it's still hard and it's funny. This is called Super Saiyan Blue, but you don't even see it actually being blue when you read it. So, yeah. Botamo and 17, you know, they had their little fight. Winnie the Pooh. The Elastic eliminated him relatively easy, you know. This is a lot of different fights going on. Mr. Pigman, the sumo guy, I don't remember his fucking name, bro. A sneak attack. I take the sumo wrestlers in your universe haven't heard of dignity or honor. Come on, Piccolo. This is supposed to be for the fucking fate of the universe. Fuck dignity and honor. It's like if you're fighting somebody on the streets and, oh, why'd you hit him in the balls, bro? Because it's a street fight, motherfucker. He might have a knife. In the octagon or in the boxing ring, you can't hit somebody in the nuts. But in a street fight, rock his fucking testes, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
No, bro. I never play by the rules on the streets, bro. Fuck that. There are no rules. You get killed if you fucking play by the rules.
I love how Gowasu compliments them because he's got past experience with them, and then the God of Destruction's like, will you stop cheering them on? Like, what
yeah. Stop admiring them. We only have 3 guys left. Yeah, they're getting smashed here, bro. They are in trouble. And then here we have Ribrianne. Why do you think, Jordan, now looking back, Ribrianne got so much hate, bro? That was a weird... Because like she's supposed to be annoying. That's the point.
She's a magical girl style character in a shonen style manga.
She's a parody of a magical girl. That's the joke.
Yeah, but you know how our fandom is. Okay.
Stupid.
You were literally just talking about earlier about how characters will hate on characters because they're weak, and about how Ten Shinhan wouldn't get any attention because he's lost fights and stuff like that. Like, you know, the general more loud and audible section of the fan base are not going to like Ribrianne because it's very obvious where their concerns are. They just want to see strong characters who look badass. So that's why.
But I don't. It's weird because a lot of these people grew up watching Sailor Moon and other things like that. Ribrianne is literally a parody. It is literally a parody of that. Like, that's the joke. Now, she's supposed to be annoying.
I thought Ribrianne was annoying, but I don't like hate her or anything.
Well, but she was supposed to be annoying. That was the whole point.
Right.
Like she was and she's right. She was stuck up, but that was the point.
The fact that she was funny is that she was stuck up is what makes it fun.
That's what I'm saying. Everything's about love. That's basically a tongue-in-cheek example of how silly those magical girl shows are because it's the power of love. Let's cry so that Ash Ketchum comes back to life. The shit's fucking silly, bro. That's the point. That's why she's a good character, because she's making fun of that stereotype.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
I don't know, bro. People are weird. Like when a character is supposed to be annoying for comedic purposes, I don't think that makes them a bad character.
Nah, me either.
This guy said their fans don't like tortas, bro. I was talking about those last night on the KLB, which is archived on Patreon, patreon.com/geekdom101. So, and also Ribrianne had way more screen time in the anime. So she's fighting 18, which we did get a version of this in the anime. A little bit less of the magical girl stuff in this version. But she's not a pushover either. And here come her partners, the other magical girls that I forget their names. Miracle, Cuticle, Particle, Recycle. That's just playing dirty. And no, there's no playing dirty, bro.
Well, now you can pull up the thing I sent you about Krillin.
Is that what panel is that on?
Bottom left, when they start talking about how handsome Krillin is.
Is that here or in the? Is that?
Yeah, that's here. That's here.
I don't remember. Wait,
it's right there. It's go to the next page.
No, the next page.
Yeah. bottom left.
Okay, I see Ribrianne there. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, she's saying, "Who exactly is that gorgeous man?"
Oh, I thought you were okay. I know what you're. Okay, let me pull this up then. I was looking at the wrong thing, bro.
So this is a callback to the character that Krillin was based on. Okay. So most of the time now in the anime they did the exact opposite of this.
Okay, so you want to talk about this, or do you want me to go into the pictures, or how do you want to do it?
Pull up the pictures. That's fine. You just click on the pictures.
Okay.
So the character that Krillin was based on, Tripitaka, the monk, the Buddhist monk, he was basically considered the perfect man. Like within Journey to the West, anytime women saw him, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like he's literally like perfect. Like they lost their shit over him. And this is, you can go ahead and go to the next image because it shows it a little bit more. Like this is them playing on that with Krillin through through the love themed universe. Like they're basically just like calling back to the character that Krillin was based on. He was a ladies' man. He was considered the perfect man. He was considered the most handsome man in the universe. So this is basically just like them making a joke, an inside joke about the character that Krillin was based on. So.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to go to the next? Because you have one more. Oh, that's just the super panel.
Yeah, it's just the super thing. Yeah.
Okay. I thought. I'm sorry. I thought you were referencing a different panel than that one. Okay.
No.
All right. Yes. And then there's a question in the chat. Yes, in the anime, she did not call him ugly. I don't remember that, anyways.
She called him ugly in the anime. She said that he was the ugliest thing she had ever seen, and then Toyotaro did the exact opposite. He made it to where they were like super attracted to him instead. So
why was
this
this
the opposite of the anime?
Yeah, and Hayden's asking why it was switched, and I honestly don't have an answer. I don't know.
I think Toyotaro just wanted to do something different. It was probably just something that he wanted to do, and I think this is actually cooler because Krillin is kind of treated like he's fugly through a lot of the series. So I think it's cool to have a universe that considers his look to be like the height of like masculine being handsome. I think that's cool. I think that's funny.
Oh yes. Now this question right here, just to clarify, did Toriyama create Ribrianne? Toriyama created the overweight version of Ribrianne, but the skinny version that was in the anime where she like loses all the weight, I don't believe that was the base form was like her base form when she's not fat is a Toei creation, but the chubby form is Toriyama.
Yeah, 18 defending her man is also cool. I agree.
Yeah, and that's an example right there of, once again, there being multiple cooks in the kitchen for Super, unlike the original manga where it's just Toriyama and his editors. Right. Very different, bro. Very different. Okay, so 12th Crash Master. It's weird how the anime and manga flipped the beauty standards of Universe 2. I always found it strange and assumed Toriyama had nothing to do with it. Well, he probably had very little to do with it.
I'm pretty sure there's an interview that confirms that that's one of the things. I can't remember. I remember seeing an interview where they confirmed that the Ribrianne thing was something specifically from Toriyama. It's been a long time. But I do remember there was like an interview where I think it's the same interview where they talk about Kale and Caulifla.
Well, it's the one that I just quoted where Toriyama said he designed the fat version. That's the one. Right. Yeah, and I don't remember what he said about the beauty standards. He just said that he drew her to be a funny version of a magical girl, which is exactly what she is.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
And then what happened? Toei, who by the way produces Sailor Moon going all the way back to the 90s, and Pretty Cure. Toei has experience doing magical girls. They're the ones that added and all the hearts and the happiness. Toriyama didn't draw any of that shit, but they knew what they were doing.
Right.
So hopefully that makes sense. Dragon Ball Super was a collaborative effort with Toriyama doing the main bullet points, but the anime staff taking over and doing things for themselves. So that's the thing. We don't know the exact level of input that he had, but we
Right.
know that he certainly designed this version of her to be a chubby version of Sailor Moon, and that's essentially it. But a villain. But she's not okay. She's one of those characters that isn't evil. She just like Jiren. She's like a female Jiren in that she thinks she's doing good. She's the hero of her universe, right? You can't do a Sailor Moon crossover, so you might as well do it this way, right? And it's a situation where like the idea of the character is that she's self-righteous, and because everything's about beauty and goodness, when in reality that's very shallow. That's a very shallow, even though she's not a bad person, she's just very shallow.
It goes back to what I said at the beginning of this stream. The storytelling in this arc is about people's character flaws being the reason that they lose the tournament and the reason that their universes get erased.
But it's more than that, but go ahead.
What they're doing is they're pointing out that things that these people consider good can also become toxic if they invest too much their ego into it too much. So, you know, it's awesome. It's cool. Like it's a really cool form of storytelling, and a lot of people just completely overlook it because they don't feed in the context of what the tournament of power actually is when they see these interactions. But if you think about mortal level and what the standard is for the gods in terms of like, you know, what they're looking for in mortals, it makes perfect sense that Ribrianne is what she is. It makes perfect sense that she's a parody of, you know, the whole love thing and showing the flaws and the hubris that comes in that. It makes perfect sense, you know. I think it's pretty cool that like that one chick has pointy ears in Ribrianne's career.
And the Yard Rats, I think, do as well, right? The one that's in this tournament. Real quick, did Toriyama take any references to the Teletubbies for her? He didn't say that. It's possible because she has to have that thing on top of her head. It is possible. I can see that. And yeah, the crunch sound, I muted my mic because I was over here crunching water bottles, so I didn't want y'all to hear that. Right. So 18's out. 18 is out, which I don't remember Ribrianne eliminating her. But here comes a big hit to her belly welly. Who hit her? I actually don't remember who hit her.
It's the bug, I think.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right, the little bug. So yeah, just the cheap invisible fighter. And that was a little more eliminations here.
Oh no, he is just an invisible fighter in this. That's right.
That's right. There's the bug and there's the invisible guy. There's two different characters.
Yeah.
I think there were two bugs.
The invisible guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then and oh god, that episode was not good in the anime. The manga version is a little bit better because it's shorter. But Piccolo got eliminated by the invisible guy, bro. What do you think about that? Disrespectful?
Well, the TOP is summarized in the manga in comparison to the anime. At least they had Piccolo sense him before he got knocked out. You know, in the anime, he's just like, I don't even know what's going on. And then 17 finds the bug guy, and he rectifies the situation. But at least they had Piccolo use his abilities to sense this character this time around because they didn't.
And he should be able to. Shouldn't he be able to hear him like Daredevil because he's got the Namekian ears?
He should, yeah. He should, yeah.
All right, so they can't see the enemy. Gohan has to sense it and be very careful. And while that's going on, Goku and Jiren are kind of distracted a little bit, you know. And it's interesting that they get distracted, and Jiren and Dispo dip out for a second because they want to avoid the invisible fighter. I like that even Jiren, with all his power, is still like, yeah, this invisible fighter is not something I kind of want to fuck with right now. Let me step away. That to me is kind of cool, bro. It's not that Jiren's afraid of him. It's that he doesn't want to deal with him.
Right.
Let these guys deal with him.
I think it's cool that they finally put 17 superhuman abilities to use here. I think that's cool. I would rather it have been Piccolo. But I can kind of see why they use 17 instead of Piccolo, because with Piccolo, I guess it could be kind of repetitive for him to be the guy with the...
Yep. And they wanted to give 17 more of a spotlight in this arc.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that, even though I know how to handle them. Okay, there's the bug.
Yeah.
Found you. Ha, a bug. And then 17 just makes it look easy. 17 could have probably killed him if he used his max power. So, this is the update, which I really appreciate Toyotaro doing this. Universe 11 has all of their members in, no eliminations. Universe 7 has 6 left. Universe 10 has 1 left. 9 is gone. We saw that happen earlier. We have Universe 6 has the Namekians, the Saiyans, and Magetta. Universe 2, 3, and 4 are basically jobber universes, but we have obviously the Ani Raza characters and all them in 3. I like this because this is Toriyama would do this also in the old tournaments, like kind of keeping you up to date about who's been tossed and who hasn't.
Right. Right.
So this is actually a good stopping point. The manga actually ends here, this volume. Yep. And then they're like, okay, now who's going to win? 33 minutes remain in the tournament. So this is actually a very good stopping point because it's still going on. Here we have some bonus stuff of like Toriyama, like working with Toyotaro and just kind of like, you know, making corrections and things like that. And that's the end of volume 7. Wow, we only took an extra like 25 minutes. It didn't take as long as I was worried, but
well,
like you said,
I knew with all the combat we had time to just talk and discuss things. So.
Right. So I don't know about next week because I've got a stream on Saturday, 2 streams on Saturday, and 1 on possibly on Monday. So we will see.
Yeah, I have to take my grandpa to the hospital twice next week, so we might have to take a week break.
Yeah, we may have to take a week break and then come back on the May on the 19th or the 20th. But we definitely have to. That would be that's a big week because that's when I'm going to Houston for Comic Palooza. So maybe on that week what we can do, if you're okay with it, maybe we should do it on Monday, the 18th.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, maybe that might be a good idea then. We'll see. We'll see. We'll talk more about it next week and we'll figure it out. So no Mangalorian next week, but the week after, probably on Monday the 18th. But that's a tentative date. They're asking about your grandfather, but that's kind of personal.
He's hanging in there. He's hanging in there.
He's old though. He's
very old.
He's hanging in there, but he's old. So yeah. Shout out to Harlem Heat. Oh yeah, that's right. The Country Bumpkins from Houston. No, Mangalorian's not really on break. It's just a week off, bro. Like I wouldn't call that a break. I wouldn't. That's a bit extreme. I would just say it's a week off.
Plus, I think I also have 2 concerts that I'm playing this weekend as well, so I probably won't even feel like doing it. This next upcoming weekend.
This weekend, Goku Day, you're going to be doing a concert.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I hope that goes well. Saturday, I'm streaming the Dragon Ball Z episodes on Twitch at 1. Then at 4, it's going to be me, Heish, and Hubuk, 2 of your favorites. And we're going to be talking about Goku's inspiration. Goku's inspiration, like how he inspires people, like in the real world, his real world impact.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and then Monday, I haven't got this ironed out yet. I'm going to be bringing on a new guest who's got a bunch of rare Dragon Ball scripts and animation Genga from the old series. So he's going to show like Mecha J, I guess you're right, bro, but that's just 1 week. But yeah, so he's going to be showing like a lot of he has a collection of like scripts from Toei, Genga, like corrections, and we'll be talking about him like collecting these rarities because that's cool shit, bro. It's like the yellow envelope that I had, except he's got way more.
Right.
The infamous yellow envelope.
I'll definitely check it out after you guys do it. I'll be busy at the time, but I'll definitely check it out afterward.
Yeah, that's all Monday. But all right, and then Saturday's also WWE and they're in town. So anyways, we'll be watching that in the Discord server, patreon.com/geekdom101. Sign up. Tier 2, 3, and 4 get access to the server. Do it. Any final thoughts, bro?
No, I appreciate all you for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for your patience as well with the thing that happened to Jordan. We almost had to reschedule, but thankfully we got it done, and that's good. Have a good one. See you next time.